greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off?
Yes,
we know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
Happy New Year, everybody. How are you doing? I am your host, Phil Marks, and welcome to another edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the last 2 weeks, because we did take Christmas off of Spank and Dave, and then he had a little holiday meltdown, which I can't wait to get to. In this episode, we will be talking about how Dave Meltzer is sweeping for AEW and CMLL to beat WWE in his own awards. So it's like, why does it matter? Just give them all the awards if that's what you want to do. You know, he talks about Booker of the Year again. Bryan Alvarez discusses how everybody's injured right now. Everybody hurts. And so make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you rate us 5 stars if you're listening to this in audio form. Ladies and gentlemen, flutes in the chat, because it is time for everybody's favorite segment, so popular it turned into its own show, and it is called the first one of 2026, Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. And all this stuff is to end the year in 2025, just being honest. We're starting the year with the end of last year, okay? So, Dave Meltzer has done a lot over the last month, okay, leading into the end of this year. And the last 2 weeks, he had a lot of meltdowns, especially considering his Wrestling Observer End of the Year awards are coming up, right? And so what you're going to find in this edition of this show is Dave is going to sweep a shit ton for AEW. He's going to bring up WCW and all of this stuff. He was impeccably predictable, and he's going to try and tell you why you should vote for CMLL and AEW as opposed to WWE for his end of the year awards, which are just meaningless. The same way the PWT awards are, like, it's fun if you make it a fun thing, but it's not like I'm sending awards in the mail. Like these mean nothing. And Dave is trying so hard and arguing with people to try and convince people, like, well, CMLL is the best promotion and stuff. So he's been completely ridiculous, as he's always been. But I just want to start with some of his predictability. And also, it's so weird seeing the 2025 at the top of the tweets. And then you look and you're like, oh, yeah, it's 26. When you look over at your calendar, your watch, or your time, or your phone, or whatever. Anyway, so Dave Meltzer, he was rather predictable. Again, we have like 2 weeks worth of stuff backed up here. I got 2 weeks backed. I got blue balls over here. So Dave Meltzer says on Wednesday against Trump, speech and large news ratings. Dynamite did 511K, 0.08, and Collision did 333K, 0.05, not including Max. So this only covers 61.5% of the homes that had access to the show in the U.S. Jesus Christ. And so I had gotten a tweet or a DM from someone saying, I'm going to say this to you right now. Or I think JJ said it, so I'll just tell y'all. But this is from JJ, and he DM'd me this like way before this. He's like, I'm going to say this to you right now instead of making a tweet about it, just because if I do, people are going to think I'm seeking engagement from whatever wrong side. However, Trump is doing a nationwide television address tomorrow at 9. I'm telling you right now that when the ratings come out and they are below 500K, Dave is going to blame the presidential address. And then that's exactly what he did. He used it as like an excuse and then talks about this only covers 61.5% of the homes that whatever. So I don't know. Pretty funny. I think we have a couple more of his predictable fucking quotes here. I think someone else sent me a screen grab of something about Dave Meltzer, and then it ended up being, oh yeah, it had to do with the Denise interview, which we'll talk about. We're going to do a special on the Denise interview probably tomorrow. A little DMDMW run-in. But here's Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez glazing fucking AEW right before this World's End pay-per-view, which had less interest than the Full Gear pay-per-view as far as Google Analytics are concerned.
Okada and Takeshita and Moxley and Fletcher are the semifinal matches at the pay-per-view. And so whoever wins, so they're doing Okada versus Takeshita in the semifinals. I think because they figure, well, if we do something else, well, everyone's going to figure it's Okada Takeshita in the finals. So we might as well do that match first, and then the winner of that faces the winner of the Jon Moxley Kyle Fletcher match. So my guess is Takeshita Fletcher in the finals and Takeshita beats him. I could be wrong, but I think that's
this isn't the shit, him fantasy mark booking. It's him here. This is what I wanted. Yeah, this last part of the clip where they're like, oh, well, it's like a pay-per-view and then a pay-per-view, Brian.
But man, 4.5 hours of pretty much just like one great match after another. And I just wish it would have been on a different day, different 2 days. But I mean, if you get a chance to go back and watch this, if you haven't seen it yet, I would strongly recommend both of these shows.
Well, you know, Brian, it's always pay-per-view quality at AEW, Brian.
I mean, between Dynamite and Collision, I mean, you basically got a pay-per-view, and you're getting another pay-per-view on Saturday. So it's absolutely...
You basically got a pay-per-view. This is how fucking markish and silly and goofballish and so lost in the sauce. This is how fucking... like deeply entrenched and hypnotized by the smell of their own bullshit Dave and Brian are. When Mark say shit like, oh, it's basically a pay-per-view. I mean, what does that even mean, man? Like, oh, well, the matches are typically on pay-per-views. You do crazy ass fucking matches. Or are you talking about the length and time? I just don't get it. What makes it like a pay-per-view? This is just Mark shit that like Dave has said for 40 years, and then Reed acts like Brian just fucking say it like it's a normal thing. That isn't even like a thing, man. You know, it's not a thing. Shut the fuck up. You know, it was a 4.5 hour TV show. Imagine any other fucking show that ever said that. And then you get a fucking pay-per-view or whatever. If it's not compared, because didn't they do like a Dynamite and then Collision 2 hours right after, whatever the fuck? Didn't they do something like that over the holidays? I don't know. I forget. It all just blends together. Everybody's just stuck. We talked about this on PWT Live show, live every Wednesday and Saturday night on YouTube. We talked about this. Like, everyone is exactly where they were a fucking year ago. Everybody, when Mox started in the Death Riders and he went heel and started the Death Riders, to now he's the baby face and in the Death Riders still, I guess. I don't know. Everyone's in the exact same position that they were in. It's crazy. Anyways, so this is we talk Booker of the Year. Maybe we'll circle back to that. So Laredo Kid, we'll circle back to that as well. I just want to get AEW stuff out of the way a little bit, you know. But so here, speaking of Moxley, here's Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez trying to explain Tony Khan's bad booking here, but talk about it like it's good. Because since Mox, and thank you, Meltzer said what for posting this clip, but since Mox won the Continental Classic, he's now the Continental Champion, but not the Unified Champion. Okada, who lost, is no longer the unified champion, but he's still the international champion. It's just like, and then he goes, the tism is strong with this one, Yoda, because yeah, it's just like, I don't know, dude. It's just 80, 80, 80, 80, ADHD booking. Okay. ADDDD, HDDD, triple D booking. Here we go. Let's listen to this clip.
Man, he did this babyface promo.
He's now the Continental Champion, so now we have another belt.
Yes, the unified title has been split up.
Yes.
And I think actually in the opener, when Okada came out for his first match, he was announced as a unified champion again. So he wasn't announced as that early in the tournament. They said he had given up a belt or something like that, but then he came out as a unified champion for this match. But anyway, now he's not.
It's so fantasy markish. This is Tony's brilliant idea of like keeping, quote unquote, keeping people strong. And I talked about this before as well. It's his way of like arbitrarily being able to say that Okada has been champion in AEW for 1,000,008 bagillion days and has 552 million title matches in AEW history. The same way he arbitrarily like bought his way into the stats and history books with his money in a way that like couldn't really have happened any other time.
He is merely the international champion, right? And John Moxley.
And Dave's just like, yep, it's very clear. It's straight up. This is exactly stuff that makes sense, except,
the Continental champion. Okay. And then one belt does vanish because there was a belt to signify the unification of the belts.
It's like that Family Guy from like way back. This is like a deep cut Family Guy from like season 1 or 2, but it's where the guy's like, Then he's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Which now will no longer be used. So
the dude's in therapy or whatever, and then the therapist is like, He's just like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
I guess it's kind of a wash. But anyway, cuts his promo and he just said, loaded.
I don't know. Dave's just like, yep, correct. Yep, exactly. You're following, Brian. Say it's not that hard to follow, Brian. Except I didn't. This wasn't one of my ideas. I actually. So yeah, here's Dave sweeping, calling out Trump because the staunch Republicans that are fucking AEW fans were locked and loaded for that Trump speech or whatever the fuck. So here is Dave again because to add fuel to Bryan Alvarez's Brian's argument that he initially made about this Dynamite Diamond Ring bullshit and the booking of it. Here is a clip of Dave trying to again sort of explain away because MJF came out with the diamond ring, was kissing it, doing the whole diamond ring gimmick and shit. And again, man, Tone's he's such a bad booker. Like, okay, let's say every year you're going to do the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and then this year you chose not to include MJF. And then MJF even said in an interview, he's like, well, yeah, they're like Super Bowl rings or whatever, like I got 6 of them. Why would I not hold it down? I'm one of the goats, And that was a good little spin on it. But again, he has to like fansplain it in an interview for anybody to get that. Like Tony can't be creative enough to like put that into the context of the booking or anything or the story. And like Tony could have even done a thing where it's like, okay, he could have even announced like the new rule is last year's champ fights this year's champ for the diamond ring in the whatever bowl that fucking, like I'm just making shit up, but you could like sport it up a little bit and make it like there's not one true Dynamite champ, but it's like an exhibit of last year's Dynamite ring holder and this year's Dynamite ring holder, and then you could like kayfabe away to not have MJF involved in it but still have him sort of involved in it. And we'll have Bandito versus, pardon me, I might have said Ricochet again. I was so like, I thought for sure he was winning it because they double title everyone up all the goddamn time in this company. It's what just happened with Willow. We'll talk about that more on a Saturday, Sicko Saturday. But either way, Here is Dave and Bryan discussing MJF's return after Bry melted down about the diamond ring. MJF shows up like kissing the ring and like putting it in the camera and just reminding everyone that he is the diamond ring holder, which I guess is fine. If he just acted like he never had it, maybe that would have been worse, but whatever. Let's hear the shilling.
That's probably why he never mentioned anything about the ring. If he had brought up the ring building up to this, it would have telegraphed that he was winning.
The problem is every entrance he did, he came out with the ring and kissed it.
Yeah, but if he had brought it up in the promos and everything like that, it would tell you right there. I don't think he or Tony wanted to tell you, even though a lot of AEW is predictable and everything, I don't think they wanted to tell you, yes, he's winning the championship before the match. So he's wrestling Bandito on the
What? Wait, hold on. Wait, whoa, Dave. Let me just back that up. What is he even saying there?
But if he had brought it up in the promos,
what about telling people about the world title change?
It would tell you right there. I don't think he or Tony wanted to tell you, even though a lot of AEW is predictable and everything, I don't think they wanted to tell you, yes, he's winning the championship before the match. So.
What? We all knew he was going to win the world title because he wasn't involved in the diamond ring thing, I think. But also you could tell that it's none of this shit Dave's saying. Well, they just didn't want to tell you. They didn't want to tell you. You just didn't know, Phil. They didn't want to. Tony and MJF didn't want to make it predictable. It was all predictable, and it's not about. Okay, it was just last minute. MJF's free from movies or whatever. Let's quickly put the world title on him, because Joe's got to go do Twisted Metal. That's how it feels. That's what it looks like on the surface. And that's what it is. And that's why he wasn't involved in the diamond ring, because Tony's sitting here desperate over Christmas time going, oh, the C2 tournament. The holy fuck, the ratings are going to go below Collision. We looked at the overall averages on the live show last night. Time Cop, it was 2025. Now it's 2026. The New Year's Eve edition of PWT Live, we looked at the overall averages and how NXT's way above CW's overall average and AEW Dynamite's way below the TBS average, which is brutal. And then the average for TNT's way higher than the TBS average, and Collision's way below that. But if you really look at it, Collision and Dynamite are 200,000 viewers apart from each other right now. So Tony wasn't trying to put up Collision numbers for Dynamite, so he's like, tournament, C2, we have to keep every sicko locked in. There's about 600,000. We got to keep the left. We'll keep them all locked in as much as we can. And yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. So Diamond Ring tournament battle, what was it? The Casino Gauntlet, fucking everything just happened in the last month. C2, Diamond Ring, Women's Tag Tournament, National Title, Casino Gauntlet, MJF. Holy fuck. Here's everything we've ever done ever in 2 months. Because Tony's sweating, dude, and he knows how the ratings fucking go down.
So he's wrestling Bandito on the 14th.
Well, for me, the problem is it backfired, because them not talking about the ring, I was like, well, there's only one reason they're not talking about it, because they don't want to telegraph that he's winning. So I thought for sure he was winning because they didn't talk about it.
Okay, but if he talked about it, then they would have telegraphed it.
They would have listen to these two chuckle fucks arguing about meaninglessness.
Even more. This telegraphed it a lot less. For sure. Come on. If he talks about it, you all know.
Dave, I know you think it's not.
Talks about what? He talked about winning the world title. What are you dumb fucks talking about? What are you talking about, Dave? I'm confused, okay?
Weird that it was never mentioned, but it was weird. And them not mentioning it was telling me, if we mention it, people will know he's going to win.
Well, that's why they didn't. Obviously, that's why they didn't mention it.
No, he could have. Well, obviously, that's why. Dave can't help but just defend Tony's shit booking. And even when Brian's trying to point it out, this is what I mean. Brian's always lost in the sauce. He's fucking caught up having a fucking tard argument with Dave about some shit that literally doesn't matter, other than, yes, they should have mentioned it, but it doesn't mean he's winning it one way or the other. It doesn't fucking matter. He should have just went, hey, I'm not in the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I wasn't here, bitches. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't here. I didn't enter my name on time. Just give a kayfabe reason. As a matter of fact, I didn't think I'd be here yet with my busy schedule, but I thought, I'll take some time to whip your asses. Boom. Phil Marks writing lines for you right there. We're just workshopping here. This is rough stuff. This is first draft stuff. But for real, like, that's all he had to do. And it's not as big of a deal as Bryan's making it out to be. But then hearing Dave's shit fucking defense of it, when he could just go, yeah, he should have just said something quickly. But come on, Bryan, it's not that big of a deal, is it? If he had said that, boom, I'd have been like, okay, point Dave. But no, now it's like, well, Bryan's whooping your ass here. You're trying to logically explain this shit and have this argument about, well, if they did say it, they would have known that this. No, that doesn't mean any of those things.
Well,
I mean, they didn't want to tell you. I don't think that when I saw stuff this week, it was people did not know who
When I saw stuff, what does that mean? What stuff, bud?
was going to win this match. If he had gone and done an interview like that, especially after Bandito won, I mean, well, it didn't even matter. I mean, if Ricochet won, whoever won. But if he'd been talking about the ring, everyone's going to know he ain't talking about this unless he's defending the title against the guy who wins the ring. So that would have telegraphed the finish. So, I mean, there was no point in doing it that way. I mean, it's like, it could have been weird, whatever. The reality is that, you know, it's obvious why he didn't do that, because if he did, you know, he's giving away the finish, and they didn't want to do that.
I don't know. I think we all knew MJF was winning the title, and you're just sweeping for your boyfriend, Dave. And Tone is the name of the boyfriend, but allegedly, right? So here is Dave Meltzer doing some Meltzer math about Adam Page and MJF on pay-per-view.
When Samoa Joe won the title, you know, at the last pay-per-view, I was thinking, like, you know, I didn't understand, you know, like, why. And I didn't understand, you know, like, why. But yeah, we explained it. It's because Joe's the only proven commodity. He's the only guy who, like, maintained the ratings / houses / whatever in whatever era you plug him in. And again, like, we've pointed to this over the last few years. I've given examples of this. So some sleuther or fucking Clipper do a compilation or something. I don't know. But yeah, basically, it's what I said. Just Joe's here. Quickly put the world title on him because Hangman doesn't really do shit. And I just want to get to Hangman and Swerve teaming up like an odd couple, because Tone, that was always his plan. And now Swerve's back and Tone doesn't have any patience or chill. So he just went right to doing that because Swerve came back when he did. And then Hangman again. So him and Kenny Omega were in the, like, we're the odd couple. We don't really agree, but we're a tag team. After they feuded, or it was after, or they feuded after or before, but either way, it was like the same story. Now this is just the same story in reverse. It's like Stranger Things, dude. When Holly, like, falls to the, you know, she, like, falls, and then all of a sudden she falls so far, then starts going back down. Those who know. How was that finale? You guys enjoyed that? But speaking of world's ending, yeah. Everybody's kind of just stuck, and it's easy to know why Tony went there. It's not this, like, complicated, this thing Dave tries to do where he, like, explains it as though it's this fucking prophetic thing, or he tries to explain away how simpleton it is and how bad it is and amateurish and how predictable. Everything's so predictable, and how, like, clearly Tony does money mark shit. He just covers up for it. And, like, I'm not hating on MJF or Joe for doing this, by the way, but it's just a matter of, like, Joe shows up, he's done filming shit, let's slap titles on him. And then MJF shows up, he's done filming shit, slap titles on him. Edge shows up, let's just start having him beat people, and fucking, he's just, you know, which is fine. I mean, that one's okay. I'm okay with Edge just because he is a guy. I mean, that's like, to AEW having Edge. Well, maybe not, because does he really move the needle, as the kids say, or as the old
podcast grifters say. No, but Edge is like their Brock Lesnar or John Cena or Roman Reigns, right? Like he's a guy who people at least want to see. He is super over, and yeah, so I don't know, man. But when it comes down to Joe and MJF, it's just Tony has no chill. He's so obvious. You know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, why it's happening, and you can just see him working around people's schedules, people who clearly, which is again, it's fine, but in WWE, you barely notice when like Rhodes and Drew and like this is just how you can tell the levels to the shit. Roman goes to film Street Fighter, they accommodate around his wrestling schedule. AEW wrestlers do not get that luxury. Okay, MJF, when Adam Sandler says it's time to go, he's got to get his time off and go. And again, man, it's the same with Joe. When Anthony Mackie says, put the clown mask on, it's fucking clown masks are going on. You know what I mean? Fuck Tony Khan in this, whatever. I'm getting paid anyways because Tony's a money mark. That's all it really is. And that's why nobody's advanced and the needle ain't moving. There's no consistency other than his cycle of like the same 10 fucking ideas. Not even 10. Tony has like 6 things that he's just stuck on. And yeah, so when it comes down to this, Dave's like, I don't understand why he put the title on Joe, because Tony is like, I'm so desperate to keep fucking ratings strong right now, which isn't like a bad thing, but that it turns into like bad WCW slop though. Like we've seen this before, man. We've seen TNA try this shit. Like we've seen this. So yeah, just hot potatoing the belt around and shit. And like, I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm way for if Joe's going to dip out for a bit. Joe's like my all-time, like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I just honestly want to see him back in the Fed one day when all's said and done. I just want to see him get like maybe win the World Heavyweight title one time. Not even the WWE, but like the World Heavy one time, Joe and Punk. Ooh, at Mania. Ooh. I would love that. Or maybe if it's just Joe and Punk, but it would be awesome to see like at a Mania, but it would be awesome to see like Joe again, like he'd have to put over a younger guy. I'm not going to be like Joe should come back and beat Braun Breaker or whatever. I'm not going to be that much of a mark, but yeah, like MJF winning the belt, I'm down with it as far as he's another guy that I don't know, like everyone agrees. I know a lot of people are turned off of MJF by now, but most people can agree he's a guy that if you plugged him into WWE, he'd make it. Hangman, I don't think people are so sure. Swerve, I don't think people are so sure. You know, Joe, we know he could, obviously. And then MJF, it's like one of the last guys that if WWE took Swerve away from AEW, would that really be that crazy, or would that really be a dagger to AEW? Not really. Like Swerve, the only reason Tone is pushing Swerve the way he is because Swerve was becoming Swerve in WWE. Like Hit Row was featured all the fucking time. MJF is a guy that if you took him out of AEW right now and put him in WWE, that would be like a dagger to the soul. That would cause insane sicko meltdowns, like to another level. And maybe Hangman would do that, but I just don't think. I don't know. I think WWE fans would be more interested in MJF than Hangman. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But either way, let's hear what Dave's saying.
Basically told, don't worry, you'll figure it out, and it'll make sense. Which, in fact, when I was told that, I kind of figured it out. And so I wasn't surprised when he won, because I figured, and when MJF won, because it was like, I can see the story. The story is that Adam Page has 2 wins over MJF on pay-per-view last year, and they wanted to get the title onto.
And people asking why should Joe, because he's crushing it in AEW. No, that's why I started by putting that over. Like, I'm not mad at Joe for doing what he's doing. He should be he should be the longest reigning world champion of all time. What I'm saying is okay, WWE's doing like record attendances and shit after like a slump, man. In the 2010s, there was like a good slump. It was rough. Joe should be a part of that. He should be a part of when Triple H brought Joe into NXT. Look how he booked Joe. Vince brought him up. He booked him pretty goddamn good. He beat Roman in his debut. He was in the mix with Brock a little bit, but then you're on commentary, pal, because Joe was getting too over. And you know Vince was kind of always petty towards if it wasn't his hand-selected guy. So I want to see a Triple H booked Joe one last run. He deserves one WWE world title to experience one of those fucking Manias or SummerSlams or Paris crowds where they're going, Joe, 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 wah, wah, wah. You know, like we need fucking what he deserves that in his career, man. And he's a Hollywood guy. Like, I don't know. Maybe not Hollywood, but you know what I'm saying. Like he's in Twisted Metal. That's a real show. It's a real show that people really watch, you know, real A-list caliber show and or A-level caliber show. And I just think he deserves that in his career. Same with Jericho. Like, it's going to bring me joy. Whatever. He did all that goofy shit in AEW. Who cares? It's going to bring me joy to see him like in one of these big ass fucking arenas, bro. It's Y2J. Like he was there in the Attitude Era, but this is the new, like it's been decades since I think wrestling's been like WWE's been at this peak it's at again with like fucking, I know Dave's like the peak is over, but no, dude, they're still selling like crazy. Maybe the hype isn't as high as when The Rock was there and shit. I agree, but like at the same time, look at the fucking attendances constantly. It's massive right now. Look at Hollywood right now with the wrestlers in general, bro. It's like pro wrestling's cool again. So I don't know. Again, like everything, there's so many people in the world now. And there's so many niches of things. I think there's more casual WWE fans than ever. And by casual, I mean people who are like kind of into it, but just aren't fully, like there was more hardcores in the 90s Attitude Era. There was like the most hardcore wrestling fans ever. Maybe you could argue that. Now, I think it's the most casual fans ever. And that's why you don't see it. Like, it's not as hot on the lunch boxes and the fucking whatever, but you're seeing like NFL player, like every fucking sport talks about WWE and they do some homage to John Cena and they all talk about it like it's serious, and every fucking ESPN, Ariel Helwani, they all want to get in wrestling, and all Hollywood's now going, well, we'll work around your schedule, Cody Rhodes. They wouldn't have done that, like, 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago, So yeah, I want Joe to be a part of that. That's why, guys.
MJF without him beating Adam Page. So they used Samoa Joe to beat Adam Page with the interference from Hook and everything like that. So it's hardly a clean loss. And then MJF was going to win, by pinning Samoa Joe in the 4-way. So Swerve didn't get pinned and Adam Page didn't get pinned. So you have those two matches and you got Moxley. So they've got like
just throwing Moxley in there, Dave. Are we
up for months?
Just booking it out, laying it out for Tone right now, eh?
For MJF.
Oh man! And then who's his first opponent? Who's MJF's first opponent again? I think they announced it. Oh God, who is it? It's not any of the guys he said. Who is it again? Chat will tell me. They announced it that somebody is challenging MJF for the AEW title. It's none of the people Dave just said, but he was trying to lay out his booking, what he's pushing for. That's what Dave was pushing for. And I think I have it here. Let me see if I can't pull it up quickly. MJF got challenged by somebody. Oh, yeah, he's defending the title on an indie event. And I'm not lying. And then Kenny Omega challenged him, pardon me, last night. I know you all were doing other shit on New Year's Eve than watching Dynamite, but moving along here, Dave Meltzer talked about Jon Moxley, speaking of which, and he is going to talk about his match with Fletcher, and let's see if he talks about that bad brain botch.
Well, we got a World's End to talk about here, and we have a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. MJF won the title in the 4-way main event. Jon Moxley won the Continental Classic. We had one completely astounding match on the show, And overall,
Completely astounding.
I thought a very good show.
I thought it was a good show. I didn't think it was the show of the year or anything. John Moxley and Kyle Fletcher had an incredible match.
They sure did.
Of course they did, because he got dropped on his fucking head. Then you guys go, oh, that moment where he got dropped on his head and then showed the fighting spirit and then kept fighting, Bryan?
I thought the performance by John Moxley in that match with Kyle Fletcher. I mean, Kyle Fletcher's always great, and he was probably the star of the tournament, really. But John Moxley's performance in that match was incredible. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen from him. It's just the basic selling, and the same in the match.
Basic selling, dude,
with Okada, where he won the tournament. Again, just incredible selling of the ankle and everything, and different kind of a match than you usually see in AEW, but just an excellent match. I mean, the show peaked early. I mean, the two hottest matches were the first two matches, which were Okada and Takeshita, and then Moxley and Fletcher.
Yeah, see, Dave is such a fucking moron too. The pay-per-view peaked early because the first two matches were the best matches. It's because the crowd was fucking burnt out and tired. They got that hour-long pre-show, and then the first two matches are what they cared about the most, and they were even quiet throughout those. It's Chicago, and the crowd was sitting on their fucking hands the whole time. Chilling, dude. Chilling. And they just get burnt out, Dave. This is the problem. You can't have two of the greatest Moxley matches of all time. No one's seen them.
But
more people have seen Shield matches, bro. They clear, okay?
Most of the matches, I mean, pretty much every match was good. And pretty much every match had a good amount of heat. The only match that was quiet was Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter.
The only one where they were quiet. No, Dave, they were quiet through the whole thing. Go back and watch. I challenge anyone. Go back and watch that pay-per-view. And what the crowd does that entire show, they're dead silent. All of a sudden, a fucking move or a little sequence happens, and they go, oh. Even the chants. No one could get a chant going. It was like Japan in Chicago.
Which was late in the show, and I would have figured, that one was going to be tough, and it was tough. But they really worked hard in that match, and they did have the crowd going by the end. So it was actually quite a good performance by both of them.
So it's based on how the crowds moved. So did he rate those matches 4 stars? I didn't even look. I'd hope Dave was spending time with a family on Christmas and New Year's Eve and whatnot instead of fucking doling out stars. But what did he rate those matches, chat? I don't know. Is he giving them 4 stars and he's talking about how quiet they were? So then that goes against his star ratings. It goes literally against what he claims his star ratings are. So, again, man. So here is Dave again sweeping. Let's read what this is. So Meltzer said what posts this excerpt from the Wrestling Observer. I'm not sure when this is from. This is from 2017. And basically Dave Meltzer just talks about this match didn't rely on crazy moves and more relied on psychology, but had few memorable spots built up that would be remembered. Omega did a moonsault off the top rope and cleared the barricade on Okada in the position the Japanese announcers would have been in, but they moved themselves and their tables away. Omega took an insane high backdrop over the top rope and threw a table on the floor, the scariest spot and one I hope doesn't get copied. Saw Omega do a top rope dragon superplex. Okada landed off the top rope, almost off the top of his head. While he seemed fine, Steve Corino noted that when, not if, Okada has neck fusion surgery, he'll always remember that spot. The 90s All Japan stars, as great as they were, should be the example of why taking suplexes at high angles, nearly on top of your head, should be avoided at all costs. And this wasn't just a suplex, but it was being nearly spiked, falling backwards at an angle, high off the top rope. Oh my God, Dave! Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that's what Dave wrote in the Observer.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
In 2017, nearly a decade later, January 9, 2017, 9 years later, And Dave's going, oh, that match with Fletcher and Moxley. And why does he do this? This is the shilling. Why does he do this? Why does he give 5 stars to that shit then if he thinks it's stupid? Well, in the match, it was awesome. Okay, yeah. So once in a while, why is it when the guys who do it all the time, you give them all the fucking stars? Dave's a fucking hypocrite. He says what benefits him at that fucking time. And what benefits him now is to suck Tony Khan's balls because fed bad, and he's allowed to pitch ideas. And Tony calls him on the phone and is like, Dave, I really respect you, and I'm actually booking this for you. So literally Dave agreeing with William Regal here, but then we'll sit there and give Moxley Fletcher 5 stars and say, oh, it's the greatest match I've ever seen, Brian. And then we'll defend it. And then all these sickos will be like, fuck William Regal. We hope he gets paralyzed. We covered that on the live show. Fucking sicko Redax wishing death and shit on Regal. And didn't he wrestle in All Japan? Was William Regal in All Japan? I can't remember. Was William Regal ever in AJPW? There's no record. New Japan. He was in New Japan. Or they were a partner. Toured and wrestled. He wrestled in Noah and Hustle after leaving WWE and Nuge. Yeah, and so no All Japan. But either way, like, Regal's one of those guys where he doesn't like do fucking topes and land on his neck, but he was doing high angle suplexes and all that type of shit. And even he's like, you got to quit landing on your heads. So it's cooked, man. So here is Dave talking about Darby Allin versus Gabe Kidd in a match that was so meaningless, not memorable whatsoever. Gabe Kidd takes the L to a literal kid. Gabe Kidd lost to literal kid. And Darby Allin, again, just blood, does a bunch of bullshit. No one cares. I'm sorry. Does anyone care about Darby? Like, he was so fucking over, and now it's like, whatever. No one gives a shit, and he's just out there destroying himself. You know?
Very good match, but hard to watch in spots, knowing the recent injury history of Darby Allin.
Every Darby's match is hard to watch, you know? I mean, every time I watch a Darby match, it's like, oh, God, you know? But that's him, you know? I mean, it's like, if he wasn't like this, he probably wouldn't be anywhere near a star as he is, unfortunately. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
That's because of you, Dave, and the sycophants. And the problem is that Tony presents him as like one of their main top star guys of AEW because he is to the sickos.
It is.
That's partially your fault, Dave. Some would argue largely your fault. Fucking clown.
This is what makes him a star. But man,
really? Because I bet if he was in NXT and they just booked him better and he did some fucking promo work, he could do something. You know? And I bet if he fucking did some character work and selectively did the crazy shit, he'd be way bigger than he is in AEW. A star. Who's he a star to, bro? 500,000 fucking people. That's a good fucking chunk of people, but it's like, I don't get it, man. He could be more than this even. And you're like limiting him because he's already this big star. He's not even like scratched the surface of what he could have been. That's why Punk worked with him first thing. Watch his match with Punk. It was Darby's best match, his most memorable match. None of this shit's memorable. This isn't even really, I don't think, what makes him a big star. It is the fact he's willing to do crazy shit adds to it. It's like Jeff Hardy. Is Jeff Hardy only a star because he jumped off ladders? No. Would he have been as big of a star? Probably not. But he doesn't do it all the fucking time. Okay?
It's like
It was selective with Jeff, where he'd do like a crazy bump that no one else could really do per match. But then, I don't know. I just watched him versus RVD for the hardcore title. That was on the Vault or whatever. And they didn't even do, it wasn't even that crazy. It was like these guys, it was mostly like psychology, and they had like fucking 7 minutes or whatever, and they had a solid match. It was just, I think a ladder came into play and a chair for like a little bit. And I don't even think anyone, I think, oh yeah, Jeff did, the one thing he did was RVD pushes the ladder and then Jeff lands on the stage, right? But the stage is or on the ramp, but the ramp's going up. So there's like a little trick there, a trick to the trade, but that's like what I mean. Jeff will do one crazy ass bump that no one else can really do. And then other than that, it's pretty tame. Right? And we've seen him in NXT have like straight up tag matches. He can just straight up tag wrestle and shit. We've seen him in every promotion do that. But at the same time, Jeff will, yes, like him jumping off ladders definitely helped, but you can't only chalk it up to that. You know, you don't win the WWE title by he's just the guy who jumps off shit. And that's why Darby Allin hasn't even been AEW champion yet. Or has he? Who even knows in this promotion anymore?
Things in wrestling is that
it's just a hot potatoed belt. All the belts get hot potatoed. There's 10 million of them. I don't know. Actually, Darby may have won that belt. No.
Once you become a star, you don't have to do as much because you're a star, but
you don't have to do as much because you're a star. No, Dave, he's not a big enough star to where you don't have to do as much. Dave doesn't understand what he's talking about. He's a mushmouth fucking readout.
Star, but man, it's like one of the things in wrestling is that once you become a star, you don't have to do as much.
He talks about it like it's WWE. Well, his bank account, he gets paid more than a lot of WWE. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're a star, though. It means you marked in a money mark.
Because you're a star.
Wrestling historian.
But that mentality has not reached him at all. And I'm sure it never will. You know, he's going to be doing this until his body just does not let him do it. And there's nothing anyone can say to stop him. That's just Darby Allin. And that's why he's really popular.
Very good.
I don't know how popular he really is. Hangman Page outsold his t-shirts. How popular are you? And think about that. Hangman Page outsold Darby's shirts this year and outsold everyone's shirts through Pro Wrestling Tees. So they keep a chunk of the money. Like their merch deal in AEW's fucking fried, man. Fried. So Dave Meltzer, he talks about him and Bryan talk about injuries in pro wrestling. And I just want to make sure we covered all of the AEW stuff they had going here. So here we had last night at the New Year's Eve Dynamite. Willow won the title from Mercedes Moné. The TBS title. Mercedes Moné's booking is, again, I wish I had known. Like, if that didn't happen last night, that would have been the biggest flop of, like, just to do that on a New Year's Eve show. Like, Tony's truly the worst booker of all time in the history of pro wrestling. Him and Herb Abrams, right? And so they also would have been best friends. But yeah, Willow beat Moné. Here's their take on it.
The one thing I liked about Dynamite was at least they knew it's the last show of the
At least they knew, as opposed to what other. So you're talking about other companies, or what does that mean? At least they knew it's the last show of the year. Let's all go home. I don't know, man. It's the middle of the week. Like, what? I don't think there was a New Year's Eve Raw or SmackDown, or I'm sure they would have did something similar. I don't know, bro. This is just such like cuck behavior.
The one thing I liked about Dynamite was at least they knew it's the last show of the year. Let's give people a happy ending.
I could see Tony wanting to end the year with a bang. It's kind
of what kind of bang? Like a bang in kayfabe? Like, so a kayfabe bang that doesn't translate to the audience, that fucking nobody watched, that Dave, you haven't even known, think reported the Christmas numbers yet. because you don't know them or you refuse to. Like, what bang? What bang? A bang and oh my God, this event. It was this monumental event. I mean, they fucking drew this big house and Willow dethroned Monet and everyone couldn't wait. And what bang? I just don't get it. She won one of Monet's 52 fucking belts. No one gives a shit. Monet's lost like 3-4 times now already. No, like in a row. No one gives a fuck. And now Willow's just double champed. We have all these people with 40 belts running around.
It's time for Mercedes to lose that title anyway. And
Why?
Willow,
Why was it time? Dave just saying it was time for Monet to lose it anyway. So they just wasted everyone's time with the belt collector thing. She didn't win the ROH and the AEW women's world titles. In this whole belt collector thing, like that was what was supposed to happen, or else what was the point of all this? So she was a mid-card / indie Ultimo Dragon. She was mid-card Indio Dragon. Is that what Mercedes Monea was?
Sometimes in life you got to be a hoe.
She was so she won mid and lower belts, and then can't win any main belts, and isn't the best in the world. And who did it elevate? Did it help get Willow more over? Or is Willow also a tag champ right now with a girl that she's trying to help bring along with her in Harley Cameron? And I love Harley Cameron, but Willow was way more over than she is now. Like a year ago, maybe even further back, you know?
You know, of all the people, if I was going to pick a winner, it's Willow, because aside from Mercedes and Toni Storm, the most over woman in the roster is Willow. You know, it's not like Chris, Statlander, who they gave the big belt to and they're giving the super push to, but she's just not over like the big dogs. She wrestles
like the big dogs
as well. But
here's the fucking problem with this too. He talks about like, oh, it's just not like they're not over. Bro, the whole of AEW is not over. They need to figure out like how to build one person. Like even at TNA's lowest, everyone was like, you guys see that EC3 guy though? EC3's, hey man, you guys see that Broken Hardy shit? They're doing some shit over there. There's nothing in AEW where you go, hey man, you see what they're doing over there with MJF? He's fucking wanking off and brought the Burberry belt back again. There's nothing going on, man, like that. So when he's like, the big dogs, when you're really over. No one's over anymore, bro. No one's over right now. All the over people are gone filming movies and shit, It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man.
But Willow is actually that.
But I get it, like in context of AEW, okay. But if we're looking at the grand scale, like the way Dave's talks about this shit, they have no motion in AEW. There ain't shit swinging, dude.
Man, these fans went wild for this title change.
Yeah.
And then the conglomeration came out, and Chris Statlander came out, who's had problems with Willow.
Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey came out.
Yep, but the Statlander thing's a big thing. They had a big stare down for a while. Then they hugged, and they did the quick zoom, and everybody cheered, and they posed with their belts. And it was a happy ending for the last show of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was quite great. Great ending to this show.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't sound too enthused about it.
The one thing I liked about Dynamite...
It was a happy ending. You hear that, WWE? Give us a happy ending. Dave's going to give me one after we're done here. I brought my oil. So... So Dave has a little has more to say. He has some stuff to say about the Fed. And then we'll get into Booker of the Year stuff. We'll get into some shill stuff, him arguing with some folks, and the awards and everything. But Dave Meltzer on recent WWE, he gave Javon Evans, Jack Cartwheel, and Laredo Kid 4.75 stars. From AAA Guerra de Titanes, which we watched on the air, which, I mean, good for them, but I don't know, man. That's too high. He rates everything way too fucking high. So again, we're done talking about Gunther and Cena, but here's Dave's final thoughts on this. This is back on December 20th, folks. And he goes, and then he just says this: if Gunther becomes a big giant supervillain, then they accomplish their job, and that's what he is and did.
I really like the story on John Cena in today's issue, and the idea of the finish and how you're not going to really know whether that was the right decision or not, based, for a while, based on
for months. It's basically,
Gunther.
yeah, it depends on where Gunther stands. I mean, it looked, if you watch the crowd, it looked like a really bad idea on Saturday, and then it looked like a really great idea on Monday. And the reality is both of those responses are too soon anyway. So
they're too soon. The immediate reaction, the whole point of pro wrestling, is too soon to gauge. The next night and the weekend of, it's too soon to know whether it's good or bad. And I know he's talking about as a long-term villain, but Gunther's already been a long-term. Like, this is another notch on his long-term supervillain arc. It's not like he just beat and retired one guy and got heat for it. It's not like he didn't bloody up the Usos and strangle them and bitch out Punk and fucking, you know what I mean? He chokes out Goldberg. It's not like he didn't already do all this stuff, Dave. No way. This was just his first ever win in pro wrestling, was choking out Cena. So we don't know. There's no way to anticipate or anything. Dave's such a fucking goober. And him saying like, well, it didn't work on the night of, but then it worked the next night. Okay, so it just goes to show you that I was right, Phil was right again, and Dave was wrong and is a fucking stupid dumbass. That the people in the building were shocked. That doesn't mean that
Meltzer Inferno.
That doesn't mean that it's not a good thing and it's not going to translate later in other buildings. Like, people just attributed it to all this bullshit instead of, hey, okay, when Undertaker lost to Brock, everyone went, oh, fuck. And they were like, holy shit. And if they ended the show on that, people would have been like, what the fuck? For sure. But there was like more matches and shit, right? And then it was WrestleMania. So at the end of the night, they were all going crazy. Cena just wanted it this way, so it went down his way. And then that's just what it is, man. Gunther's them booing and getting mad and having heat towards anything is a good thing. Dave and these, like, remember when Dave and Bryan were scoffing at Wade Barrett, being like, and Rey Mysterio's the greatest luchador of all time, Cole. And then Dave and Bryan were like, what about El Santo? And like, they think kayfabe is real. Bro, the whole point of wrestling is to get a fucking reaction. If the reaction is fucking people are infuriated, if you go out there and you have Cody Rhodes save children from a burning building and the crowd turns heel on it, then that's still something. That's fucking, and they boo it and go, no, let them burn. And you're like, what the fuck? And you weren't expecting it. That's still something there. Like, that's, they care so much that they went fucking crazy. And that's the whole point. That's like harnessing their energy, and then you fucking throw it back. That's why it's awesome. You have live TV, live crowd. You go out there on Monday, you figure out a way to get everybody, like the whole locker room is on the side of the fans, right? They kayfabed it. WWE was so quick with it and smart with it. I mean, it was just, everyone was such salty grapes over the fucking Cena stuff. I'm done talking about it, though. Like, we're going to move on from that. So, moving along, and we're skipping some of these with Tone and Triple H because it has to do with Booker of the Year stuff, right? So we're moving along here. Dave Meltzer talks about Omos, who's back in AAA as El Hijo del Vikingo's fucking heater, bro. How much does that rule, chat? How much does it rule that Omos is Vikingo's fucking heater in this faction? I forget their names, the name of the faction. Again, I'm getting into the AAA as much. It's all on YouTube for me. So I mean, not every show, but I think all the PLEs now or whatever, it's about to be on Fox and shit. It's blowing up. People are like, Phil, we want you to watch JCW. I don't know, man. There's so much shit going on. AAA, I've been trying to get more into, but yeah, Omos is here. Dave is going to tell us what his thoughts are.
I think people knew about Omos coming in, because they'd done a little tape vignette where there was a giant guy that you didn't see with Dorian. So, and I mean, he's been there before. He did the Triple Mania,
that Battle Royal.
That Battle Royal where he just killed everyone. So, I mean, it's good for him. At least he's getting some work. I mean, it's like WWE had this guy, and everyone knew he needed.
Oh, bro, don't do this when AEW has Camille and had Penta and Ray Phoenix and had CM Punk and had fucking Ricky Saints, who he just stuck on a fucking bench. Don't do this when AEW is literally all they're known for. Mercedes Martinez just announced that, hey, after this is my last year of competing, and the dirt sheets are like AEW superstar Mercedes Martinez, and I'm like, she's still on that fucking roster? Holy shit! They signed her like fucking 4 years ago, bro. I haven't seen her in 3. You know, like where's Mercedes Martinez been announcing it's her last year wrestling, and she's still an AEW wrestler? Tone better fucking use her. You know, Dave better not do this. Well, at least he's working. No, bro, because you are all about people just getting paid to sit at fucking home.
Time and in the ring, and they gave like how many matches do you think the guys had in the last 2 years? Like
Not many.
Not many.
And he shouldn't. Omos shouldn't. It's the age of the internet. He's a giant fucking freak. Send him to Japan. Send him to Mexico. Even then, even Mexico, we're talking about AAA like it's mainstream. People are talking about AAA more than CMLL that Dave's fucking shilling for based on attendances and shit. It's so funny because CMLL, because attendances and shit, they're the promotion of the year, but WWE isn't because AAA, he didn't like the John Cena finish or whatever. Like literally Dave is a retard. But Omos is an attraction, bro. He's this giant freak, and unfortunately, in the age of the internet, you can't hide this guy. You gotta put him out there selectively, unfortunately. And you don't want to just have him only working in the fucking PC 24/7, grinding matches out like he would at house shows, because A, it's not the same thing, and B, this guy fucking hurts himself. Come on. He's too big of an investment, both figuratively and literally. So, Dave, shut the fuck up. And he can't be working all the time, unfortunately, in the age of the internet. Same with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, I think, recently talked about how he wished he got like more time in NXT and shit like that. And the thing is that Braun Strowman, I remember, he popped up on like one NXT live event, and then all of a sudden he's in like the Wyatt family. He was a Rosebud and shit, yes. And you might have seen him like in the background or something. Maybe it was a fake security or something, and they dressed him up like funny because he's a big giant, so they dressed him like a giant fucking daisy or bunny or whatever the fuck with the rosebuds. Yeah, but other than that, like, he worked one fucking match in NXT that people saw, and everyone was like, oh shit, this big monster guy. And even then, like, the IWC I don't think was as crazy as it was now, and not everything was like clipped and thrown online as easy and as often as it was now. And then Braun just showed up as part of like the Wyatts. That's kind of how you have to do giants like that. It's hard with Omos. It's hard to hide this guy. And they tried different things in NXT, and everyone shit on everything along the way. But I think this is the right thing for him, man.
And, you know, and the time he did go to Noah, which he loved, and, you know, he got over, they called him right back, you know, and they didn't even have him drop the belts or anything. You know, he won the tag team titles, and then just one day they called him back, and everybody thought, oh, it's for the Royal Rumble. And it's like, no, they just called him back and then never used him again. You know, it's not, he's not in NXT, he's, you know, so
And in chat, if he brings up AEW in this clip, yes, it makes sense. Bringing up AEW out of the blue makes no sense. Yeah, but here's the thing. That's what Dave does. So, like, you can try and defend Dave if you want to, but that's what he does with WWE all the time. When he's talking about AEW, he just starts going, oh, but you know, in WWE, if they didn't, So that's why he has, if he doesn't do that right now, he's a fucking goofball fraud. You know what I mean? That's what he does when the shoe's on the other foot. He'll never do that for AEW, even isolated. He's never sat there and been like, oh, well, fucking Camille and this person's on the bench. He just sweeps for it and goes, Tony said if you're a good guy, then he won't free. The Ricky Saints thing, I mean, he knew Ricky's leaving, so he's like, Jericho's on that. You know what I mean, dude? He'll just sweep for it all. It's like now he's going, well, at least this guy's getting work. Fuck you talking about? He was advocating freezing Phoenix and shit. If this was if this was AEW, he'd go, if this was AEW talking about Camille, he'd go, well, what about Omos? That's what he does all the time.
I mean, it's good.
We chronicle it here at DMDMW.
At least he'll be getting some work, and he'll be doing the monster thing there, which they can.
He'll be doing the monster thing there, the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash.
Those guys are all so much smaller than him. So, and he'll be an attraction there. I mean, Giants, Giant Silva and Giant Singh, they were attractions in Mexico. So, you don't have to be good when you're a giant down there.
You don't have to be good when you're a giant down there. Just shitting on everyone. Omos isn't good. I don't know, man. When he showed up in that battle royal, we pointed it out. I remember distinctly. I pointed it out on the air. I was like, dude, his timing's down. Like, he's where he needs to be when he needs to be there and everything. Like, it was perfect. It was the perfect showing for him. I don't know, Dave. You're just talking shit, man.
You just have those little guys run all around you.
But Satnam Singh, Bryan. So moving along here, Bryan Alvarez talks about Dominic's shoulder injury. Actually, I'm going to circle back to that because we have a little bit of injury talk. Here. Here's more WWE. So this has to do with Austin Theory and his return and CM Punk and all that. And Theory switched his gear back, and I don't like that. I love this DBZ type, Dragon Ball GT type gear he was wearing here, but he switched out of that stuff and went back to his tights with the fucking AT on him.
I mean, the story of the show was Austin Theory. When it was over, He's
Austin Theory, dude.
Yeah, I wasn't.
That's the problem.
I wasn't. It was like he's there. He's a guy.
The only difference is he shaved his head. He wrestles the same way. It's the Vince McMahon 2003, big jacked up guy, very simple matches. Sitting there doing chin lock.
Chris Masters, buddy. Oh my God. Oh my God. He compared Theory to Chris Masters. And he doesn't do anything. Real simple and basic moves. See, they just want to see rope walk, slip off the top rope, break your fucking neck, and then go 5-star match. I mean, Hechicero doesn't really botch like that.
I'm like, oh my God. This guy came from Evolve in 2019. And people were talking about this guy's a future main eventer. He does all this stuff, blah, blah, blah.
No. He does all these crazy moves where he almost breaks his neck. He's a future main eventer. That's not why they were saying that, you fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. That's not why they were saying it. Okay? It was because of his look, his presence, what he's capable of doing. He goes to WWE. He implements the style. And then you guys are shitting on him. Why? Because he's next up? Theory's going to get super over in the next fucking couple years. And they're just trying to boo-boo on it before it happens.
They hire him
because he's not a guy who kisses their asses and fucking lands on his neck from John Moxley suplexes off the top rope.
They teach him how to work.
Okay.
He does exactly what Vince loves to see. Big guy.
Vince hasn't been a part of the company in how long? As far as booking and all this shit's concerned. He does what Vince likes to see. You mean the long game? You mean he makes sure that he's going to be able to wrestle till he's 45? Literally listen to what they're saying. He does the stuff Vince wants to see. So, what CM Punk and Rey Mysterio and John Cena and everybody does? What are you talking about? You mean what all the over guys do? You mean he's not going to flip around like Rey because Rey's in this match and Rey can flip around like Rey? What are you talking about, man? You mean he works pro wrestling at the highest level and will have a very long and fruitful career and become a major star, possibly household name one day, if he plays his cards right and if he's able to pop off enough? You know, I just really don't understand how they sit here. This just shows they like move porn. That's all it
So
is.
slow, heel. It's just like no one wants to see that in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But when he was in Evolve,
Promos aren't great. His wrestling's just there.
Yeah, I was not blown away by him. His charisma is not off the charts. He's going to get a push. So, I mean,
yeah, he's going to be huge. These guys' radar's way fucking off.
Sometimes, if you're lucky and things are hot, that's all you need, but not always.
If you're lucky and things are hot, that's all you need. You don't need nothing else. People are stupid. People are dumb, Brian.
I mean, the story of the
and what we think, us two old fucking men, out of touch redacts, what we think is the best, is for sure the best stuff. So Dave Meltzer says Roman Reigns was the one who pitched Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania 39. Vince McMahon had the final say at the time. It was Roman Reigns' call. I mean, Vince had to approve it, but Roman Reigns was the one who went to Vince with the idea and pitched the idea that it would be better, Brian. It would be more meaningful if he didn't win the first time. Except we build to a bigger one the second time. And he explained it. Here, someone screen grabbed this or like took this link and then DM'd me and told me this story was Meltzer was full of shit. I got a message saying not true. Rock versus Roman was the plan with this story attached to it. So I don't know, whatever. Maybe that person's lying.
Allegedly.
But I would just say that there's an allegedly for you guys. And maybe that was the case. But this is just because Dave heard about, he just saw the fucking emails from the Vince thing that we talked about on the last live show, right? Last night, Time Cop. We talked about how those texts or emails were exposed with WWE and Vince and that, right? And so Dave saw that and then all of a sudden just Spergs out 4 paragraphs about how it was Vince's final call. It was his decision. He made the call. Not that like it was Vince's plan or I don't know, whatever the fuck, man. It doesn't matter. Dave, they're just so insistent on trying to implement Vince in things still. Like people are over it, bro. Get over it. And then also he just has an uncanny ability of seeing what other people post and then just like spurging out and making up this like hindsight reality of shit that didn't really happen, just adding context that isn't there. And this is what Bischoff calls him out for all the time too. If you really listen 83 weeks, it's not like Bischoff's out there just like he's a liar constantly. Bischoff does such an incredible job because he was in the mix. He was there when this shit happened to him specifically, where one element would be true and then Dave would just extrapolate all this bullshit from it. And it's like, dude, you're cooked, you know? You're fucking cooked. You're just making up this extra parts that didn't exist. So, here is Dave talking about the Vince McMahon situation like he's in the know, like he knew in his seascape fucking fleece. He looks cute here. And so he's just sitting here going, Vince was still in charge of creative 2023. Rhodes was supposed to beat Reigns at 39. Reigns went and pitched to Vince that blah, blah, blah. And then I'm being told over here now, it was supposed to be Rock Roman if it was Vince's idea. It would have been Rock fucking Roman if it was all Vince. Right? That's what I was being told there. So, all right, you know. I don't know what to believe, but I don't believe Dave. That's all I know.
All right, there was a big article that came out today by Brandon Thurston and Post Wrestling regarding the shareholder lawsuit with TKO.
The big thing that they pushed was the idea that Vince was involved in creative in 2003 when he came back, and we all knew that.
I thought that was patently obvious.
Well, it's not even obvious. It was not like every week we talk.
Not even. I thought that was obvious. Well, it's not even obvious. And then Dave's going to explain how obvious it is, or what?
Talked about it because we would get the reports of Vince rewriting the show. So it's not like, I mean, that's, to me, that's common knowledge. But it was, I guess you could say, it was physical.
So it's common knowledge. Oh, it wasn't even obvious. It was common knowledge. So Dave just cuts off Bry and interrupts him to just say what Bryan just said. He's the most ignorant fuck.
Verification with actual emails proving what we already knew.
Cody was supposed to.
So it was obvious. So it was obvious to everyone. Fucking Bry's just such a whipping boy, dude.
To beat Roman Reigns that first year. And Vince showed up, and that was his call to nope. We're going to delay it another year.
Okay, it was Roman Reigns' call. I mean, Vince had to approve it, but Roman Reigns was the one who went to Vince with the idea. And
so did Dave report this last year? Like, where were you then? Or did he report it? I just don't remember. I cover this asshole so much.
The idea.
I like to think I retain most of it, but it's like, if he did fucking report that last year, then okay, I guess he's staying consistent with his shit, but I don't know, man.
It would be better. It would be more meaningful.
Yeah, everybody knew, though, that he was still, like, the limbo didn't end. That's why Mania 40 is like, this is the new era, because it wasn't until going, like, how long before Mania 40 where we knew for sure Vince is fucking, there's no Vince anything. So yeah, Bry just tried to make that point right off the rip, and Dave just plowed through.
Win the first time, we'd do a bigger one the second time, and explain.
But like that Mania 40 era was like Paul Heyman's speech at the Hall of Fame, the way they ended Mania 40, the Roman Reigns era ending, sort of signifying as well, like the Vince era ending type thing as well. I felt like that's where it all culminated. Like, this is going forward now, fully the Triple H era. Yes, Triple H was in creative control, but we're all like, well, where's Bruce Pritchard? Is Bruce Pritchard on holiday? Is he reporting back to Vince? Is Vince fucking... We were all kind of questioning that, I think, until around... So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully Dave was on point back then.
I think Heyman with Reigns did that. I think they were very persuasive. I think that well,
it was the right move. If Heyman and Reigns persuaded Vince or Triple H or anyone, then that was the right move, dude.
The argument's very strong with the benefit of hindsight that they were right, because
the argument was strong then, and I've always said it. If Roman was still champ to this day, I would still be down. I'm not joking.
Year was much bigger.
I'm not joking.
First year, but it was Vince made the call. And Levesque was on board with the call, but Vince was the one who made the call. So, yes, Vince was the one who had final say at that point. He had final say the whole time. He was the chairman of the board again, or whatever. He was in charge of the company, and he remained having the final say, even though Levesque was in charge of creative. Vince would still have the final say until...
In charge? No, it's still being in charge, buddy. Just because there's a step above you, it's like the fucking manager at the Starbucks is still in charge. It's not in quotations. Dave doesn't know how to do the quotations. He doesn't. He does them wrong. First sign of a redact, dude. He does them wrong every time. He was in charge. Okay, period. If the general manager comes down to the fucking McDonald's, the manager is less in charge, but it doesn't mean they're not in charge.
Ari Emanuel removed Vince from having the final say.
Ari Emanuel?
All right.
I think his name's Ari, dude. I don't know. So, Dave Meltzer, where are we at here? Oh, wow. Making great time this week, guys. So, Dave Meltzer talks about WWE plans for Chris Jericho. I look and see it's not just me. Actually, let's do Paul Heyman and his Austin Theory talk. This is Bry talking about it here real quick, and then we'll get into that that whole thing.
I don't want to get
Jericho.
on the guy, but God help me. Austin Theory. Like, apparently Paul is really high on this guy, and like Paul Heyman's a really smart guy, but man, I don't see it. And it's nothing against him personally, but
Okay, so typically when like I have a babillion people going, "You're a dumb fuck," which I don't have, but I mean Bryan does. And when you're like, "Man, Paul Heyman's a really smart guy, but I don't see it," and you ain't done shit, you're just talking about it, I would just shut the fuck up and go, "I'm gonna listen to Paul Heyman on this one. I don't see it yet, but you know what? I'm gonna listen to Paul." But I actually do appreciate Bryan like just having a hot take and sticking to it. He's like, "No, I don't fuck with Austin Theory. That's cool. I'm actually down."
his match
But at the same time, if the reason why I have faith in Theory more than maybe I would be, I don't even think any of it's been bad yet. I've genuinely enjoyed the Masked Man and the Vision and what they're doing with Logan Paul more than when Seth was in it. I'm way more locked in personally. Maybe some of you guys aren't. That's fine. I'm way into Austin Theory getting this kind of like badass leather jacket wearing Terminator guy push. I'm down with it, right? Heyman being in his corner gives me the utmost faith. Like knowing that Heyman's super high on this guy makes me go, I'm pretty certain this will pay off. And I'm not going to miss this train. If this guy goes on a fucking, what if it's not Braun Breaker? What if it's Theory? We don't know. Like, we can't see into the future. But as of now, Bry's not feeling it. And he's like, oh, he's just a generic shaved head guy. Bryan, he looks like your son. What are you talking
are just nothing.
You look like his dad, bro. Look at that shit. Spitting image.
He wrestles like 2004 John Cena. Just the Vince McMahon, big jacked up guy, grab a hold, old school heat. It's just like that match he had with Rey Mysterio, of all people on Raw. I was like, this match is just there.
Yeah, dude, he's trying to get heat. He can't be the cool, I'm going to do cool stuff to make Bryan and Daddy Dave fucking pop. He's trying to work. Rey Mysterio does crazy flip shit. Austin Theory cuts him off and slows him down and grabs a headlock and makes people go, fuck this guy. What doesn't Bryan get about this? Holy shit. Holy fuck, man. It's like we're in another... It's like two universes existing parallel of each other, and they're just barely touching to where you like cross over at like a seam, but just there's a disconnect. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Lex, what's
I don't
wrong
know.
with you? Me neither, dude.
You mustn't have been listening to the announcers because they were just raving about how this guy is completely different and changed, and
He's not.
They came to a heck of a conclusion to shove down our throat.
Here, okay, and Lance, buddy, you should know better than to even say that. But again, he's got a kayfabe Bry because otherwise you lose out on this job where Observer, like Dave's just giving you money to fucking hang out with Bry and put up with his bullshit, this faux outrage. But they talk like Austin Theory didn't exist before this. Like he wasn't having matches and hit, like he wasn't doing running second rope fucking blockbusters or whatever, and Grayson Waller wasn't doing like somersault fucking cutters and shit through he jumps from the ring over through the bottom rope in a somersault into a fucking complete shot or a stunner or whatever. Like, come on, man. They were doing shit. They were jumping off ladders and shit. Like, come on, dude. Him and Waller were doing. So, like, you guys just want him to do crazy shit or what? Like, I don't even understand what the criticism is with that. That's fucking crazy, man. Roman Reigns doesn't really do that crazy of shit. He's the most over fucking guy there is. I don't understand. I don't get how that's what is CM Punk doing that we're like, oh my God, it's what is CM Punk doing where Dave's melting down?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Like nothing. So I don't get where this criticism comes from of Austin Theory. Like he's just working what is called top guy speed.
Before we had a chance to see him,
I don't want to see everybody wrestling like Austin Theory. Please. I don't want to get
They don't. That's why they have him wrestling like that. They have like 100 guys who flip around, Bri. I don't know if you watched the show or not. So on this is the injuries talk. So I want to take a moment. Jericho. This is it right here. This is what I was looking for. So Jericho, he is returning to WWE. And let's take a listen. Apparently he's a free agent as of midnight last night.
Jericho's
or this morning, however you look at it.
Deal is up tomorrow.
Yep. And
where do you think he's going?
They're all, well, I mean, I expect it's WWE, but there's nothing.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Now, okay, another
allegedly.
Alleged, okay, is that Jericho would get, so people like someone who knows Jericho might possibly say Jericho would get so much money from Tony Khan, and knowing Jericho, there'd be no fucking way he would go. Like, why the fuck would he go to WWE? This is a work. And AEW's in Winnipeg on April Fools. That's all I'm saying. That would be a hilarious troll, but I would absolutely shit on that. And it would be funny for Jericho, but he can't just keep being a goofball in AEW. There's nothing there. Now, I maintain what I'm saying. Jericho is going to go. It's not about money. He has all the money already. And I'm sticking to my guns. Jericho will show up at the Rumble, or they're saying the January 5th Raw. I saw some dirt sheets posting that fucking apparently manufacturers know that they can start making Jericho shit or something. I don't know how the dirt sheets are reaching out to like Chinese sweatshops now or what. Are
you sure about that?
I have no clue. But either way, I think Jericho shows up like at the Rumble or whatever the fuck, however they do it. It doesn't matter. But I think he wants to be a part of this stuff. I think he wants his pod to get on Fanatics. I think he wants to be one of those guys who, you know, he wants Fozzy to get a second win, and he wants to be part of Fanatics and all this fucking the Netflix podcast shit they're doing, the reality shows. Think about it, Unreal season 3. They follow Jericho's return or something like that. That could maybe do numbers for them. And also, WWE signing some of these dudes to like 2-year deals and shit, like these older dudes. He could go to WWE for 2 years. Do a couple manias, put people over, be a part of all this shit. I've already pitched this 100 times, but to me, I don't give a fuck even if someone knows him and they're like, I don't give a fuck. I'm sticking to my guns. I think he's just ahead of the game on this one, and he's playing 4D chess. No, just joking. It's been so obvious. Like even USA on Fox, or a USA on Fox. Pardon me. WWE SmackDown on USA or whatever the fuck that USA one is, USA on Fox. USA WWE or whatever the fuck posted like a Jericho's undisputed title win and stuff. I think it's so goddamn obvious. And hopefully he's just working people close to him, or who knows, maybe there's people in Tony Khan's pockets that go deeper than we think. But and maybe that's a little X-Files. ESPN. Yeah, it was Disney on ESPN on ABC Family, guys. I don't No, but not to play conspiracy theorist. I just think that's what Jericho's got to be thinking, okay? And oh yeah, this is my main part of the theory, is that he can go back to AEW in 2 years, still get money from Tony. And maybe I'm blowing up Jericho's spot, I'm sorry. And he could be like, but Tone, it'll help AEW in 2 years. I'll make my return, and everyone will be like, oh, it'll be the same moment, but in AEW. I guarantee he could pitch it like that, and Tone would be like, okay. Because Jericho wants to be a part of, like, he wants to be one of those guys where you can buy a Dolph Ziggler shirt off WWE Shop, even though he's Nick Nemeth in TNA. That's what Jericho wants to be. You know, he's a rock star at heart, you know?
And anyone in AEW that has any plans for him. There's people, I mean, I've heard plans from WWE for him, but not that he was signed. And that goes back months. He couldn't have been signed, you know, and technically he can't sign until Thursday, right? But, you know, I mean, it's I mean, yes, he could be on he could be on Raw next Monday legally if he signs, if they want.
Legally, Brian. So people are saying that some of the sheets. Who's trying to get Phil Nye, the science guy? What are you trying to say to me, buddy? That he'll just do the goofy shit? Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Well, no, because he'll have a creative filter. You think Triple H is going to let him get away with all that shit? I don't know, man. I think he'll reel it in a bit, and I think he wants to go to AAA and do something with Dom and all that. I think I think there's shit like that he wants to accomplish, which you could say is kind of Mark shit, but at the same time, look, man, his boat had no AEW presence, and people are like, it still could last minute. The whole poster's filled. They're just going to fucking make a new poster where you can't read anything and just add a bunch of AEW guys. Fuck that. It's going to be filled with AAA and NXT and WWE, like whatever guys aren't being used or whatever. And then their podcasts. So Stephanie McMahon's pod on Jericho's Cruise, like that's what he's looking at is a possibility.
I want to debut him there. There have been rumors of that. It is possible. Nobody would confirm it with me on that, nor would I expect that they would. But there's,
again, you guys want allegedly. He's like allegedly, and Husey came on the show. Husey came on the show and said it, but allegedly, fucking Mania, Dom versus Jericho is like what has been pitched personally. Motherfuckers have pitched that shit, like that's what they want to have happen. So I know chat is kind of like some people are like keep him away from Dom, but no, man, it'll just get him over. Like
I mean, the people involved right now are all trying to keep it quiet. So I mean, the one I heard was the Rumble, but that was also months ago. And I think with Jericho, knowing him, I think that he would want to debut when people don't expect it. But I mean, it may not be. They may have their ideas of what they want to do in their timeline, and that's when it's going to be done.
Yeah. So and Dave's like Jericho knowing him. So there you go, man. He knows Jericho, and he's saying he'd want to do it at a different time when people don't expect it. And I just think it's what I said earlier in the show. There's more casuals now to where you've got to almost like at the Rumble's the place to do it for them, because the sickos are going to pop anyways. I don't care when he does it on a Raw or whatever. I'm going to get the goosebumps and I'm going to go, oh, fuck, man, it's happening. And like, I'm going to break it all down and I'm going to go nuts. And it's going to be funny because I swear, like, I've helped will this shit into existence. So I think the Rumble is the way to go with that. But it, again, maybe on the Raw is the way to do it. But then is that killing momentum for something else? It's crazy to think we're so close to the Rumble too, guys. The road to Mania is on track. So Dave talks a little bit about random thises and that's before we get into the two like main things that I kind of want to talk about. Everything's a main thing, but Dave talks about how WWE in 2025 compares to WCW in 1998 for some reason. I don't know.
I almost see like this year, 2025 WWE, like 1998 WCW. Okay. 1998 WCW was actually their most successful year they ever had. Yet most people,
and I'm not trying to play spoilers, guys. I just fucking I've been on this Jericho shit. Like I was reaching and piecing it together when it didn't even make sense. And now it's like paying off, and I'm just like, yes, let's fucking go. Because Jericho is like a dagger to AEW. Because he is one of the guys from day one everywhere. And I'm not like, oh, I want to see daggers thrown at AEW and shit. But I don't know, man. It's made it compelling. It's, to cover the wrestling. It's been interesting. It's the only interesting thing about AEW. I want to see Tone really get put on his back foot to see how he responds. He's never really been on his back foot. And until the journalists and the wrestlers all Like he's literally left with like the people that he fucking was benching forever, and they're all disgruntled. Like that's what happened in TNA when they ended up having to start, like they're going with all these guys they mistreated in the X division and shit, and they got to start running. And right, and Dixie Carter's there like, you will not disrespect me, and everyone's like ex WWE making way more money than these other guys who were being treated like shit. You know, once you come to that, and it's already starting to get there, you know, he's really going to have to fight his way out. And I don't know, my guy JJ is just like, he's going to give up once he doesn't get a TV deal. Like he's just going to throw in the towel because it's not fun for him if someone's not paying him to do it. But I just don't know if I agree with that. I think he'll keep this alive. Again, it'll end up being like people just wrestling in his backyard on VHS tape. We're for real wrestling fans, backyard wrestling fans.
We'll point to Sting not beating Hogan and that travesty.
So he's comparing WWE in 2025 because Cena didn't beat Gunther to fucking Sting not winning against Hogan, which was a travesty or whatever. I just don't, again, man, neither of those guys were retiring. It was a whole different thing. It's a whole different situation. It wasn't for the title.
Sting not beating Hogan and that travesty at Starrcade as the beginning of the end. Yet the argument is like, but the next year was even bigger.
So in chat here, Jay Sueto, I'm sorry, I fucking butchered your name, says, in 98, the WWF overtook WCW in ratings, attendance, pay-per-view buys. AEW has gone down in 2025 in all those categories. Exactly. So how like Dave just creates these fucking narratives for sickos, man, to believe in. And they believe, oh, it's turning the tides. This is like 98 because they botched John Cena, even though they're sold out everywhere and they're announcing all these big fucking things, and TNA's getting $30 million, largely in part because of their fucking relationship with WWE. Like how that's what the correlation, that's what he's trying to say. That the challenger brand or WWE, big bad WWE is going to be overtaken by AEW. Holy
My thought was that they lucked into Bill Goldberg, and Bill Goldberg became
lucked into Bill Goldberg. It's always luck. If something gets over that Dave doesn't like, it's luck. It's just luck.
So hot that the mistake of Starrcade didn't really hurt them because Bill Goldberg got so hot. And I think that this year, maybe they would have had trouble, you know, and gone down a little bit, but the Cena thing was so big. You know, they did that retirement thing. They spent a year on that retirement, last Royal Rumble, last WrestleMania, you know, only countdown of dates. Every time the guy appeared, you know, it was significant. There was a reason. They did a big crowd. Not every time. There was just sometimes he showed up and did an interview. It might not have been the greatest interview, but most of the time. But you know, the big crowds, you know, at the Garden and the big number there, and the Boston and everything, and San Diego, you know, like just business success after business success, you know, built in with him on his way out, and then this show being the climax of it. And it's like, if you took that away, would they have had as good a year? And I don't know.
I bet they would have done the same attendance for the SNME and shit. Maybe they did a little more. I don't know. I don't want to shit on Cena, but they were just on a hot streak with Raws and shit. Maybe in some of those slummy dates, like near the end of the year, where it was like, damn, SmackDown's not looking too good attendance wise, even though it's like 6,000 people and shit. Maybe like it wouldn't have been as hot. Maybe, I don't know. But at the same time, Cena definitely helped. You got to thank him for the house this year. And it's like, did they luck into this though, Dave? Like he just brought up Bill again. He's trying to compare the two, right? And then he's like, well, but the thing is WCW lucked out and got Bill Goldberg. So did WWE luck out with John Cena? Because I don't think that's the case, bro. He just called his spot. I think he would have called it whenever Vince was there. Triple H is, I don't know. I think he would have called his retirement spot. He's just focusing on Hollywood for the remainder of his physical fucking abilities, right?
If they stay at this level next year, then it was like, you know, they were even without Cena, they'd had to go 2025. Mm-hmm. If they go down a lot this coming year, in popularity, then we can go back and go. Cena might have been there. Cena 2025 might have been Bill Goldberg 1998. Because if there was no Bill Goldberg in 1998, WCW was
what? So you just go back and compare it to this thing that isn't even the same thing.
down, probably right after the Sting thing. You know what I mean? Like probably about a year earlier than they did.
He's acting like this is enough to like turn a bunch of WWE fans off. Meanwhile, their attendances have been super strong still, and their ratings are about the same. And over Christmas, everything took a bit of a hit, especially on Netflix with the fucking Yule log and the fucking Stranger Things and all that. So I don't know, man. Dave Reach in there, but he's preying on this. Like he's planting these seeds to sickos because he wants to. That's going to be his narrative in 26. Oh, well, I mean, the Cena thing, it was like Bill Goldberg. I said it. And so moving along here, this is what Bruce Pritchard has to say about a dummy like Dave Meltzer right here.
Gossip, rumor,
and this is from Something's, or what is it called? Something to Wrestle. Something's Wrestling. I'm a Bruce Kreischer. I was going to combine Something's Burning, Something to Wrestle.
Or just that. Just gossip. It's just bullshit. There are a lot of them out there. And Dave Meltzer leads the pack with just, he looks at something and he thinks, well, what he should do or what he thinks will do. But he presents it as if it's fact. This is what they're going to do.
See, Bruce is saying what I said Bischoff did or says earlier, which I point out as well. It's about how Dave will just take something that like there's maybe an inkling of something, and then he just extrapolates it and speaks as though his fantasy mark booking or his hindsight fantasy mark booking was accurate reporting.
And then if it doesn't happen, well, they changed
instead
it.
of just joking about
right,
it or
they
being
changed it.
Yeah.
No, Dave, you didn't know. You're a liar and you make things up. Understand that when you look and you see the track record of so many people that
Bruce Pritchard's podcast is key, and I'll tell you why. Because when Dave goes, these old podcasting grifters, and Conan as well. Well, Conan's in the business. He's a part of White Hot AAA right now. Bruce Pritchard's booking the hottest wrestling company, or he's sitting in the creative meetings. He's not booking it, but you guys know what I mean. He's a top dog in WWE. Why would he be old podcast grifting? What the fuck is that? He's getting paid enough. He's made enough money. It's not that Bruce Pritchard doesn't need to come and call Dave a fraud. We all know Dave's a fucking fraud. Everyone else is doing it. Your boy Phil's doing it already. We're all doing it, but it's good that he does and he sort of validates what motherfuckers have been saying, because how would you can't quantify Bruce Pritchard as an old podcast grifter, right? There's no need for him to, like Maven, you could go, okay, he makes certain video. David Otunga says he would have beat the shit out of John Cena. He's doing that for clicks or whatever. I mean, okay, I guess you could levy that argument against him, but Bruce Pritchard, it's like, no, he doesn't.
When you play it all out, 9 times out of 10, it's wrong. And when they are right, it's because, well, thank you. You followed the story, so that continues to be the bane of people's existence. I think it's getting less and less now, and that people are understanding the lack of credibility that so many have when there is a lot more access to other folks that were in the game.
It's all about that game and how you play it, and just other people who aren't full of shit and don't, or they go, hey, I'm in a fantasy mark book. This is what I would do. But who knows, right? And then you just fucking lay out your booking. I don't know. Who knows, though? So that's the way to do it instead of pretend you're a professional. Like, it's snake oil shit. This is what people used to do in Kung Fu. Yeah, I'm a fucking 10th degree whatever master, and then you go in UFC becomes the thing. You get fucking fraud checked, and now there's not as many fake martial. There's some like phony self-defense type guys out there, but just as far as like these fake like death touch martial arts guys, like they don't really exist anymore because there's the internet and they will get beat the fuck up. There's a guy who makes it a mission to do it, and the internet exists now. So Dave just got exposed as like this guy who just pretends to be credible in fields that he just doesn't know shit about, one of which is boxing. And here's him giving his take on the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua affair that went down a couple weeks ago.
Jake Paul, what'd you think of the fight?
Oh, God. I think the gig is up. I'm just tired of Jake Paul as a boxer. I think he's done a fantastic job. He dressed up like Hulk Hogan. I just don't know how many more times Netflix is going to go to bat for him. But
based Meltzer, I actually do agree, and people don't want to fucking talk about that part, but Jake Paul is just not really a draw. He's got to fight guys like Joshua. Now, like, don't get me wrong. Netflix wants 33 million people watching them, but I just don't know if Jake Paul's the guy. He worked himself into a bad position and no one points it out. His bank account, not a bad position, but as far as him in boxing, and I've been talking about it here and there on PWT live shows, live every Wednesday and Thursday night. Wednesday, and I've been fucking drinking, man. It's New Year's. Wednesday, this is Thursday night, Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week, Wednesday and Saturday night. But yeah, Jake worked himself in a weird position to where he wants to get a cruiserweight title, but then he says that's what he wants to do, and they rank him there. But then all of a sudden, I want to fight Gervonta Davis and Anthony Joshua because I have this deal with Netflix. I got to keep doing freak show fights. And I just don't know if his efforts are going to make some of the ladies he's featured in co-main event bouts. He's helped elevate them, but I don't know if it's going to, if that's going to pay off like the last couple of ladies who fought in the co-main there. I fucking forget. And who else was on that card? And I completely forgot about the fight too until after. Anderson Silva fought Vitor Belfort in a boxing match. Did that go down? This is what I'm saying, man. So Jake Paul, he just worked himself into a shoot in a fucked up way to where he can only fight big names, and then people are just tuning in to see this big name try and knock him out. And again, if you just want to look at sheer numbers, his Tyson fight on Netflix did like 120 million views or whatever. And then his second fight, or the Canelo Alvarez fight against Crawford, did like, what was it, 60 million or 40 million views. And then this did like 33 million views. And this is Jake Paul's second fight. So it just goes to show you, like, Tyson was the main reason. Joshua could draw whoever he boxed. If he fought Usyk or one of these fucking guys, man, he would have Deontay Wilder, whatever. Also, prayers up for Joshua. He was in like a crazy car wreck. He was in a crazy car accident just a few days ago where two of his coaches died and he survived, thankfully. And he was like in Nigeria, I want to say, or something. So Tyron Woodley, did he box? Yeah, I can't remember who Silva boxed, but Silva won, which is awesome. Silva's like the fucking GOAT. He was my MMA GOAT for sure. I think overall he's like my favorite all-time fighter. But either way, yeah, Dave, he is right in that aspect. But I mean, again, it doesn't take like, oh, I study the business to kind of see that writing on the wall, right? I think very surface level analysts could fucking tell you that with Netflix, just looking at the numbers.
I think they will one more time because, you know, the axiom is basically if you draw money.
The axiom is Nathan Frazier, Brian.
You're going to be getting chance after chance until you're not drawing money, and then you'll still get a couple more.
And then did you guys see after the fight, like Jack Doherty's security guards are fighting with like Andre Arlovsky and shit? And it's just like, man, that's a fucking legend. Like you clown ass influencers. It's just clown shit. People are kind of over it. And we just like 30 million will tune in to see Joshua fight almost anyone that they think he's going to fucking KO if it's like a shit talker, like a Jake Paul or a Jack Doherty or a fucking one of these, name one of these influencers. I don't know, Adam 22 or one of these fucking guys. If Anthony Joshua's fighting them, I bet 30 million tune in to see that person get fucking KO'd, you know? When it's just two influencers fighting, I don't know how that really paid off. Jake was able to market that and flip it with the Tommy Fury thing, but he was like a reality TV star and he also boxed and all of that. So I just think Jake worked himself into a shoot. He's got to fight old guys, or he's got to fight guys that he's way bigger than, which doesn't just further delegitimizes him, or he has to fight guys that are bigger than him and they're just going to spin his jaw every time.
Chances after that, because he did draw money, and that's kind of where he's at right now. You know, he's going to draw with Tyson. He's going to draw on this one, and so he's going to get a couple of more chances. You know, with Netflix, and they'll pay that. You know, good for him. They'll pay that money, but man, these are, you know, this was just a bad fight, and made boxing look bad. Made boxing look bad in many ways. You know, especially. It just was a circus.
No. It made boxing look good for the. See, Dave, again, he just like parrots shit in a way shittier and less charismatic way. But no, man, there was some good scraps on there. And then they did have a couple like MMA, like a MMA freak show fight there with the Silva, a couple, you know, competitors who come from MMA who are kind of washed, whatever. But it did make boxing look good in that Joshua got the win, which is what was supposed to happen. And then like the undercard makes boxing look good. Like the ladies in the co-main, they had a great bout, you know. It wasn't like as good as like Taylor Serrano or anything like that, but it was still like they went out there and scrapped. And it's just that boxing should be ashamed that this is their biggest fucking draw, is this freak show bullshit. You know, they should be ashamed of that. And they should be ashamed that the numbers are just falling now that interest has been gone. But I don't like, we'll see Jake fight Canelo, I bet, on Netflix or some shit. I bet Canelo will grab that bag quickly and he'll piece him up too. Jake's size doesn't matter when it comes to a guy like Canelo. He's not as fucking technical or as fast as Crawford or anything like that. So it's not like he's going to fucking beat Canelo. But Tank Davis, maybe he had a chance at that, but I could even see him getting starched there. So he's just way bigger than Tank. So it's harder for Tank to starch him. But Joshua, I mean, this is what was supposed to happen. But boxing should just be ashamed.
You know, especially it just was a circus, and the guy, you know, going for takedowns and the ref's not.
Yeah, like
doing
Jake
anything.
Paul fought like a
I thought the
puppy.
ref was terrible. Thought Joshua, you know, was not good.
No, the ref was good because he was like warning Jake. He was like, this isn't what people paid to see and shit. He said that. They caught him saying that. A lot of these refs like try to get overly involved. That ref was trying to stay out of it, but Jake kept shooting fucking double legs. And he's like, bro, what are you doing? Box, you know? So I actually thought the ref did a good job of dealing with Jake. Are you really like, I know people were like, just DQ him. But it's like, well, the ref also did a good job in that. Well, I'm going to let this go because Joshua's going to spin his jaw, you know?
Hurt himself.
That was my opinion.
And then he even admitted it.
The ref was the most over guy with me.
And Jake was just out there not trying to win a boxing match. He was trying to survive and get the moral victory so he can go out there and be, you know, oh, you know, I lasted 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua. And he survived 6 rounds with him.
He survived all right.
But I
he
mean,
never
was,
quit like somebody I know.
Bryan is such a pussy, dude. You're such a fucking goofball. I can't even like someone I know. Okay, that's not funny. A. B. He did quit. He fucking quit on himself. Jake Paul quit when he started shooting double leg takedowns. He quit. He's done. He's done. He knew he's cooked. He's just, you know,
Jake Paul.
He's just surviving as long as he can. And that is the problem with this like clout culture shit where it's like, oh, well, technically that's what Logan Paul does. I went in there in an exhibition match with Floyd Mayweather, who carried me and rocked and pieced my ass up the whole fight, and I'm 100 pounds heavier than him and half a foot taller. Oh, I survived with him. He couldn't take me out. It's like, yeah, dude, he boxes at like 140 pounds, doesn't he? Like, what the fuck? It's just goofy clout chaser shit. This is why that Jack Doherty goof security is like fighting Andre Arlovsky. And then I saw a quote after where Jack Doherty's like, yeah, let's set up a fight. My security versus Andre Arlovsky. And it's like, you couldn't be any more of a fucking clown, dude. So here's what Dave and Bryan had to say about Tanahashi-san. Okay.
Tanahashi's final match in Korakuen Hall. And I watched that match, and I watched the crowd reaction to the match and to the post-match, and I was like, this guy needs to win at the Tokyo Dome. He just does.
I don't think that's going to happen.
They don't want. I mean, God, you sold that place out for Tanahashi's last match.
It doesn't matter.
See, Bryan is being fake here. He's trying, because this is why. I don't even know if he believes this, but he's trying to keep the same energy on the Cena shit, which I tip my hat to him. But, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm off on this, but if this turns into Bryan calling out, well, Tanahashi should have won, and then them getting in an argument, based Bryan, okay? Based Bryan moment of the week. But I just, the look on his face, I just don't even believe he believes what he's saying. I swear he's just trolling Dave right now, which is actually funny.
To the post-match, and I was like, this guy needs to win at the Tokyo Dome. He just does.
He's trying to do like a Cena thing. Or is this fake for them to get like they want to create discourse online about Tanahashi should have won. No, he shouldn't have won. I don't know.
They don't want. I mean, God, you sold that place out for Tanahashi's last match. They just want to leave happy.
They'll leave happy. They're going to see his last match. When it comes to this,
I swear, Bri is fucking trolling Dave. Whoa, is he fucking felting Dave right now? Oh my God. This might be based, Bryan. Do we need a base flute? Because, Dave's about to completely not say the same thing that he would say about John Cena right fucking here. I think Bryan just baited him, dude. Bait shop Bryan. Oh, my God.
I mean, it's all about the post-match. It doesn't matter who wins.
Oh, my
God. They can have him win, but... I don't know. I would
it's all about the post match. So like Cena's or what? Well, they didn't even give him a speech, Bryan. Oh my God. I think Bryan just felt it, Dave Meltzer right there.
Surprised if he's going to beat. I don't see him. I think that he would see beating Okada as being very selfish on the way out.
Oh yeah. Who did Okada lose to when he was on his way out to AEW?
He didn't lose to anybody on the way out.
Yeah,
that was one of the problems. Yeah, that was one of the problems. But still, it's not. I can't see Tanahashi beating him. I don't think that's. It's just not a move that they would make. I mean, he could win and it'd be fine. It's just I don't see it as a move they would make. I mean, if he was going to beat somebody in his last match, they ain't bringing in Okada. I mean. And it couldn't do it to Nakamura for political reasons. I mean, if they were going to even do the match.
What does that mean? Didn't everyone deny that? Didn't Tony Khan and everyone just denied that, Dave just made up Shinsuke for political reasons? So you're admitting Shinsuke would have been the bigger draw and the better fucking pick.
WWE wouldn't have let Nakamura lose.
See, he's just making up a fake thing. They wouldn't have let him done it. How do you know? They both confirmed it. Remember when he said that?
Anyway. So, I mean, he could beat Evil in this last match, but nobody would want, that'd be a horrible idea for a last match. I think he possibly could have beat.
Okada goes there, beats Tanahashi, then just leaves back to AEW. Fucking Tanahashi's Tony Khan. Tanahashi's an L, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't care what anyone says anyway. Tanahashi's an L. He's a fucking L, man. This whole thing, and him and Tone just love each other, right? And I just think it's an L. You got to distance yourself. You got to get away from AEW, man. Otherwise, it just ain't going to work, especially if it's what Dave's saying and Okada's going to go there and beat him. Nakamura would have at least let Tanahashi win. You guys goddamn know Nakamura could have, too. It wouldn't have hurt him either. Wouldn't have hurt him in WWE. Oh, man. But of course, Dave will fucking sweep for this. Tanahashi's an L, man. 100%. Where's my best guys, Tony Gunn?
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Naito, and that was under consideration, but I don't think he would have taken that win either.
Oh, man. I think Bry just subtly fucking pwned Dave and pointed out how, I don't know, dude. With the John Cena,
Tanahashi's
it's like
fight-
the exact opposite. So it's just for Nuge, the same doesn't apply. In that, like, 1-to-1 fucking, he called his retirement tour. It's been a year of Tanahashi retiring. And then he names this, who his last opponent's going to be type shit. I guess Gunther won, but it was kind of obvious. We all knew. He won like a tournament, I mean. Oh, man, it's so good. It is so good. So, God, we have these just Dave arguing with people. I'm wondering. So this is Jeff Lane posted this, and he was told wrestling media is not propaganda. So let's take a listen. Does this have to do with awards, though?
Almost doubled the NHL.
So here, this is him talking. This is Dave talking about like ratings. Shout out Vince Russo's The Brand and Jeff Lane. This is Dave talking about, I think, like ratings or whatever the fuck when it comes to AEW and NHL and the big panel plus whatever the fuck.
AEW didn't double the NHL, but it almost doubled the NHL. Now the NHL
Wait, what?
is way ahead of AEW.
Oh my God. Hold on. So now that we have the big panel plus whatever, is NHL ahead of AEW and it's a more refined system? But before Dave would lie and say that AEW is doubling NHL or what? Or is he just talking about straight up on TNT? I don't know.
AEW didn't double the NHL.
It's just in 25, we can't be talking about AEW in the same breath as fucking NHL and NFL or MLB or any of this shit anymore, dude.
But it almost doubled the NHL. Now the NHL is way ahead of AEW, and all that's changed is the rating system. It's not like the NHL has suddenly, in the last month and a half, gotten more popular, and that AEW's popularity has just plummeted. Because every sign I have is that, you know, the house.
Every sign you have? What do you mean? Is that like a feeling? The fuck you talking about every sign you have? How is that a source? Dave Signs? That's what that's where he, you know, that's his sources or what? Like, you're supposed to be a journalist, dude. Jesus Christ.
Because every sign I have is that.
And every sign is showing every measurable, palatable, scientifically measurable metric of data indicates AEW's trending downward. Other than the pay-per-view numbers that you make up, Dave. You are the quote-unquote source for everybody on the pay-per-view numbers. You're the only one who seems to know what they are. Nobody else knows what they are. Even Tony Khan says he doesn't know what the fucking streaming numbers are. And now they sell AEW on pay-per-views on Amazon and HBO Max or whatever, so he wouldn't even know what the numbers are, according to him. So it sounds like you're just a fucking liar. Like, I don't know, man.
You know, the houses are ticking up.
The houses are ticking up. Buddy, they're doing 1,200 people is like a good house for them right now.
A little bit. So that's a positive. The pay-per-view last
up a little bit.
Again, Nielsen has said this is a more accurate count.
That's they put thousands and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars into developing a new system, bro.
Right. And in this new system, it is showing you, well, the NHL is more popular than the antiquated system showed.
Right, exactly. God damn it. See, Dave doesn't study and learn, bro, because we already knew this. Jeff Lane spitting. Like,
learn, Meltzer Inferno.
We're like, Jesus Christ. He's still like, this is Dave in his cute little Christmas sweaters, Tommy Hilfiger Christmas collection right here, right? And he's, and this is like a week or two ago. And this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, what the fuck? The big panel plus whatever the fuck is way more accurate. It tabulates way more people, and it shows you sports love it because it shows you sports are way more fucking popular, and it's showing you that wrestling's way less popular. Maybe not even way less, but like marginally less popular than it was before that we thought with the old system that was antiquated and that was like had way less people, I think, that they actually tracked or whatever the fuck, if I'm not mistaken. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't get into the weeds with that because I don't know what the fuck what any of it really all means. But all I know is that sports more popular than they perceived. Pro wrestling not as popular as they perceived. In general, that's across the board. WWE as well. So Dave's spurging out. He'll take WWE's numbers and go, well, they're not as popular, and explain why it's not as popular. But then with AEW, it's not like AEW is not as popular. Things are looking up, even though everything year over year is down.
And AEW is less.
And that's for NXT too. Year over year, NXT, the numbers are fucking down. Shout out Raj Giri. He posts the numbers all the time. We fucking track him. And we watch him here, or we read about him here. And you guys watch it at home. And you guys know, because you're watching PWT. You're listening to PWT. Fucking for NXT as well, because of this new big plus, whatever the fuck, year over year, it's way down. So it's like, we're just not going to play the game. We're just going to fucking look at it. And what is it right now? We're going to go by this. You know what I mean? And Dave can't do that for AEW only.
Less popular than the antiquated system showed. So these numbers are more accurate. And he's just trying to say they're not.
Yeah.
He's trying to convince people that this new, more accurate system is not more accurate. Then why did they switch to it, Dave?
Yeah.
Why would they be using it if it's less accurate?
Because in Dave's mind, they are just executive fat cats who don't know shit. And
AEW didn't double.
They don't even pay attention to their own business, and they're just looking for ways. It's all a conspiracy against AEW. They're looking for ways to make all of their TV shows look better. But AEW, like, you know, what would be the excuse? Let's say the excuse is, well, this new system is a way where they can make everything look like it's worth more than it is, and it's getting more views. Okay, but AEW and WWE aren't and shit. You know, so what does that tell you about that? It tells you that it's just genuinely a better way of measuring this shit. That's more up to date, probably way more, probably just a way better way of doing it. I don't even know what they're measuring, how they're measuring it. You know, people talk about, oh, if you fall asleep in your remote and you don't click your remote for 5 minutes, then Nielsen doesn't tabulate. People try to break all this shit down. I don't fucking know. But this is clearly just a better way of doing things. And Dave would understand that and go, yeah, shit ain't looking up right now for AEW. You can't just do that. So here's Dave Meltzer arguing. We talked about Raj Giri, shout him out. And so this guy says what Dave is saying. Okay, let's go back here. Because Dave decides to sweep and argue with people and Raj Giri over what's the most popular fucking promotion. Right? And are we getting into Booker of the Year stuff here? I'm not sure if we are yet. Let me just look. So no, before we get into Booker of the Year stuff, let's go with what Dave is talking about in this post here we go. So we talked about Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, right? And these are the numbers. Thank God this guy, so most watched boxing matches like 108, 41 million, 33. 4.6 million buys, though. That's pay-per-view buys. That's not on Netflix. Like, way more people can watch it. But this chart is most watched. But 4.6 million US buys, that's fucking pretty good there. 4.3 million US pay-per-view buys for McGregor Mayweather. Holy. But Jake Paul is good for boxing. But I honestly, I think boxing overall needs to give their fucking head a shake and figure this out. But boxing has been back a little bit, and I won't say Jake Paul hasn't helped put some shine on some people and shit. I won't say that, but at the same time, like, he's had to fight. His fights are a fucking joke and are shameful that's what your top draw is. It's a freak show. It's just a circus, you know? It is shameful that boxing doesn't do a good enough job of helping promote some of these boxers to super. But again, is that their fucking job? There's 8 different federations and the boxers are making millions anyways if they get to the tippy top. So it's just humiliating that I think some of the freak show fights are Like we got to watch Jake shooting double legs on Joshua, and then that's Joshua. That could be his last fight after this accident. I just think it's shameful. But anyways, but I'm more of a mixed martial arts guy anyways over boxing. Always have been, although I've always loved boxing, but in MMA, there's more of like I don't know. There's like the Bushido and all that Mark shit. Phil S. Marks, folks. Hit the like button. Dave Meltzer says, imagine comparing a real pay-per-view number at $100 cost with a Netflix number where you list viewers versus pay-per-view, which doesn't include multiple views per home. This is such a fraud comparison. Dave's such a ninny-poo little baby baba bitch that he goes, this is what I mean. This is the condescension. So here's a fucking guy, Max Calendrillo. All he does is tweet about boxing. He's just a boxing fan. And all this shit says is the most watched boxing matches of the 21st century. So it's just showing you the views. It's just the most watched. And then Dave goes, this is a fraud. Imagine comparing a real pay-per-view number at $100 cost with a Netflix number where you list viewers versus pay-per-view, which doesn't include multiple viewers per home. Who gives a fuck? He wasn't breaking it down like that stupid baby. Dave likes to try and take W's on people who are just like boxing fans and shit, or like a WWE fan. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be a journalist. Meanwhile, he's so fucking dumb that he lets something like this trigger him. This is why he deserves to get made fun of. He's just a bad guy. Like, for real. This is a fraud comparison. He's like, I'm just a fan, dude. I'm just posting what the views were. This is just, I don't give a fuck about this Mark shit you're talking about. And it's so dumb. With Netflix, that counts multiple views. Dave, nobody fucking turned that show on, watched that Jake Paul Joshua fight, and then turned it back on again. Okay? Maybe, who knows how they tabulate it. Oh, I fell asleep. I had to finish it later. But that's not possible for AEW. Dave, you're such a triggered little bitch. So this guy, Joe Habib, says, if pay-per-view views were such a great model, then all the major sports, NFL, MLB, and NBA would do it, but they don't because pay-per-view would shrink their audience / ad revenue and make the leagues far less profitable. Joe Habib, first off, there are like fucking 20 years ago, even, there would be like Edmonton Oiler games on pay-per-view. There would be that, buddy, because sports weren't so big and there wasn't so many fucking outlets to where all these streamers, like everybody bids now, oh, we'll get the Minnesota Wild versus Anaheim Ducks game or whatever. Like people, maybe not that one, maybe that's a bad compare, I don't fucking know, but just popular teams, like all the games, all 82 games, not all of them were always televised. And there was a time, I don't know if they still do it, where games were fucking, some of them were pay-per-view, but you could pay if you were like I'm a fucking LA Kings fan, but this game isn't on broadcast against the Coyotes, but I can pay to watch it. They had that for a little while. So I don't know, man. Anyways, but he is right. Pay-per-view is kind of dead in today's day and age where people can just stream shit with Stream East and all these fucking, get a VPN, folks. NordVPN.com/ProWrestleTimes. I think the holiday deal's still on. I'm not sure, but either way, there's a deal in there just for you guys. And yeah, check it out. Even WWE and UFC, which used to rely on pay-per-view, are moving their big events to streaming. Facts. Reaching far larger audiences, which allow broadcasters to generate more advertising revenue and sponsorship opportunities than traditional pay-per-view ever could. Illegal streaming also killed pay-per-view, undercutting paying audiences and accelerating the shift to streaming, where broader access increases total viewers and revenue. This is the old way of thinking, which is why you have people in the media who are basically dinosaurs and just don't get it. And who's this guy? Like, this ain't a fucking sicko. This is just a dude, ringside reporter, beating the odds. Maybe he is a wrestling guy, but he's absolutely right. And Dave doesn't get this. He's stuck in this old fucking behind the times way. But Dave Meltzer goes, pay-per-view made pro wrestling and pro boxing incredibly lucrative. Yeah, but it doesn't anymore. But Dave is still hanging on to this pay-per-view thing for two reasons, because he's the only guy who's the, quote, source on pay-per-view anymore. And now that UFC's off pay-per-view, he's irrelevant in MMA. Dave, in 26, you are officially irrelevant in MMA because they can't look up pay-per-view numbers, because when MMA fans Google pay-per-view numbers for the UFC event, they get Dave Meltzer's numbers, the Wrestling Observer, because he's been doing it for 50 years. They don't understand on the pro wrestling side that he's been kicked around like a hacky sack for being a fraud, right? So he's now irrelevant in MMA because it doesn't matter what he has to say about it. His boxing, yeah, we want his analysis on fights and shit. The fuck does he know? So Dave again is just saying pay-per-view made pro wrestling and boxing incredibly lucrative. Yeah, dude, Joe Habib didn't say that it didn't, Dave. Again, you're just like moving the goalposts or saying some shit that doesn't need to be said. He didn't say that it didn't. The only reason it slowed down is because streaming services were willing to greatly overpay for the product. So now you're being dismissive. Were they willing to overpay, or are they paying a shitload for NFL because they can sell tons of ads and they can clip out Snoop Dogg's halftime Christmas show and get 1 billion views on that after on Netflix as well? Dave, are you just behind the times? I think that's what it is. Even when WWE had its network, it never made the money from Mania it would have on pay-per-view. And that's fair. But again, that's not what the dude's arguing. He's talking about eyeballs and now what the game has become. So Dave, again, is talking about even on the network. Dave, they abandoned the network, no longer exists, and they've now gone back to, hey, WrestlePalooza's on ESPN, whatever the fuck, for an additional whatever, or if you have this, then you get it included, or whatever the fuck, and then the streamers can sell advertise. We're talking about in 2026, bud. Okay? And Raj Giri says, man, I'd be embarrassed if I claimed to understand the business and then tweet stuff like this out. The only reason pay-per-view slowed down was not because of streaming services overpaying. Total WWE pay-per-view buys were consistently down year over year this entire century. There were only 2 years where the number of pay-per-view buys exceeded the prior year from 2000 to 2013 before the network even launched. Boom. Cooked him. Cooked him with facts, man. Cooked him with real fucking facts. And so here is Dave arguing with more folks. Let's see. Or is this all? Yeah, this is all topical to the next two little things I want to talk about before the show's done. Yeah. And so we're talking about injuries. And Dave and Bryan have some things to say about injuries and what's been going on with certain people who are injured and which company has more injuries. Guys, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you join patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes, and make sure you check out nordvpn.com/ProWrestleTimes. Okay, and just fuck all of this stuff we're talking about and all this dummy stuff Dave does. And just get Canadian, use NordVPN. You get Canadian Netflix and Canadian YouTube and all of WWE's right there, folks. And you don't got to worry about that shit. And if the holiday deal's still on, it's a massive fucking deal. So get it. 30-day money back guarantee on anything. And yeah, you get up to 10 devices. You can put Nord on your shit and it just protects you online. You might as well do it. And I use it. Otherwise, I wouldn't shill it, right? So shout out Nord. Anyways, moving along here. Let's get into, so again, this is, we'll talk about the Booker of the Year stuff, but the injuries, okay? So Bryan reports that Dominic Mysterio has a shoulder injury, and then Dave and Bryan actually discuss which company has more injuries and how a lot of guys, I guess, or a handful of them have shoulder injuries right now.
Dominic was in there with his dad, and they did a spot, and Ray ended up giving him a DDT as Dom was going for the Three Amigos, and Dom landed right on his shoulder and was hurt. And they managed to finish the match, although I think he did like one spot. I think he did a one-arm, basically, Michinoku driver, but other than that, I mean, he couldn't lift his arm. It was just kind of hanging there. And he finished the match. They got him out of there, but he's hurt.
He was hurting today.
Yeah, he's legit hurt. And then Dave's like, he was hurting today. Like he called him on the phone.
And he's going to get examined. I mean, normally you would go to TV and get examined, but there's no TV until a week from Monday. So I was told he's getting examined at some point this week, probably by a doctor there to see what's wrong with the shoulder. But so it's premature to say anything as far as like the severity of it. But it's the same thing, you know. I mean, shoulder injuries are very, very common, and it's probably not a good thing. You know, I mean,
No, an injury, it's probably not a good thing. You don't say, Dave.
like it could be Penta, who's touch and go. You know, Seth needed surgery. Hopefully, he doesn't need surgery right now because they got, you know, I mean that would put him out for months if he did that. But right now we don't know. You know, but the injury's legit. Yeah.
It was funny too because bodyslam.net or some shit on their Patreon behind their paywall reported that like Penta's gonna be out until this certain date, and then he literally showed up that fucking night, and like, not to wrestle, but it's just still funny when that shit happens. And it's like, dude, Patreon dirt sheet, that's fucking crazy. Patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times is just a good old fun time. Okay, I'm uploading like an hour-long fucking epic watch-along video as well on Patreon for this. It'll probably be up. I'll put it up Monday, or I'll put it up Friday, tomorrow, or Monday. One of the two, which I know those are a few days apart, but it is what it is, man. Moving along here, though. So Dave and Bryan talk more about some injuries here, and Dave talks about the dangerousness of some of these moves and who's hurt and what company.
Don't make this more dangerous than it already is. Sometimes there are moves where you're just adding danger to something that is already dangerous. And yes, you may get away with it here, you may get away with it there, but you don't need to add danger to what is already dangerous. There's safe ways to do almost everything. Safe meaning, you know, you're not deliberately spiking yourself or doing like a top rope pile driver, a top rope tombstone or whatever. I mean, there's moves that probably, I don't think you need to do them.
The stuff he was talking about and the stuff that we're all talking about is essentially being dropped on your head without enough protection. And there's no need for that. And, you know, he talked about Misawa, who did that a lot and died. And, you know, it was like, and Regal himself, who didn't take those kind of moves, but
he did a little bit though, Dave. Don't undermine Regal. He would give those kind of moves though, but he protected his guy. Same with Taz. Like, say what you will about Taz, but he just had that low base, like that low center of gravity, and he kind of protected those. He was stocky enough to where he was hitting those suplexes, but he knew how to do it. And I think that's why no one came out of fucking Taz's ECW school other than his cousin, because it's like, who the fuck else knows how to hit moves like that, you know?
You know, I mean, he's had major neck problems. Look, Regal to this day is very close to Danielson. And, you know, I mean, Danielson's still suffering from this. I mean, that's why he hasn't come back, is because of the damage. By percentage, there are more injured AEW wrestlers than
So,
WWE.
Dave, why do you cheer it on? Why do you applaud it? Why wouldn't your approach be, I'm going to give stars and I'm going to reward wrestlers who don't rely on that shit? But instead, you and Tony are literally pushing for this company to like usurp the one where they don't do this and are clearly doing things like they figured out the professional way to do this shit, you know, like the highest level, most professional way to present and do pro wrestling, and it draws the most. And instead of giving them credit for that, you like reward people. You talk one side out of your mouth like you're rewarding people for doing this shit that's like ending their careers, and then you talk out of the other side of your mouth and go, well, I mean, they're right. I don't ever want to see All Japan Misawa
wrestlers by percentage and I've been charting this for 5 years. It's usually I would say equal. It's like sometimes, most of the time AEW had less, but the percentage was so minor that it's not worth like, oh, we're better than you. You know, it's like it's equal. Right now, WWE actually is lower, but it's not like, you know, it's not like either is necessarily safer.
Yeah, I just don't know. I think the injuries are different as well. So again, it's like how people meddle with statistics, right? There's organizations that will meddle with statistics. The government is even accused of doing it, where they meddle with statistics, where it's like, okay, Dave's just looking at, here's how many people are injured. But if you look at severity of injury / if you look at, like, if you add in these other factors, I'm sure it would skew for WWE in certain areas and AEW in certain areas. All we can do as fans, or all you can do, not even as a fan, if you like them being dropped on their head, okay, I guess, whatever. But all we can do is, like, observers, I guess, Dave, you like to call yourself the observer, is, like, just look at, on that show, how many scary almost neck fucking things happen. 3, dude, on one show. That's too much. And also, those neck injuries and shit are cumulative. In 2026, we all have to understand this. Landing on your head and just like, oh, well, he was okay, but this guy blew his shoulder out. Yeah, dude, you blow your shoulder out in freak ways. You don't, and you do land on your head, I guess, in freak ways, but, like, that's an accumulative thing, dude. If you feel okay from that, if I throw a baseball and I feel okay. If I throw a baseball and blow my fucking shoulder out, I mean, that's a freak thing. I'm sure there's some accumulative factors there, but landing on your head is like, in people who run, they find CTE. They're finding this is what CTE is. You just get it all the time your whole life until your life is done. And some people just get it way crazier than others, and it affects people way crazier. And you can do things like flying headbutts and suplexes on the back of your head, and this shit fucks with your spine. Your spine controls your fucking body. You know what I'm saying? Your spine and your brain, those are the 2 things that control your body. They're connected with your fucking neck, and you just shouldn't do this. Like, it's, especially the head, neck, back shit is accumulative. We know this. We've known this for so long now. So I don't know, man. Dave talks one way for his awards and his stars, and he
don't make this more dangerous.
He's okay with Tony, and he rewards and glazes and says the best wrestling is the stuff where these guys do this thing, but then they'll sit here and preach on their fucking soapbox like hypocrites. Don't do this thing. Mox and Fletcher had a fantastic match, really, because it just was shitty. Fucking dude got dumped on his neck, and everyone was like, fuck. That's all anyone's talking about. And Moxley had 2 of the greatest matches of all time on one fucking show, according to Dave, because of the selling of the ankle, when the thing that should have been sold the most was this fucking neck. And Moxley should have known better than to do this. He should know how to get over then. Okay, so they didn't need to do this. They didn't need to do this at all because Moxley got over with the selling of his fucking ankle. Is that what you're saying, Dave? Then why are these types of matches getting rewarded? Because it sounds like what you're saying is the top guys can do less shit. And Dave does literally say that. He said it about Darby. Oh, I mean, when you're up there, you can do less shit. But meanwhile, he gives Jack Cartwheel a 4.75. Has Kurt Angle ever got a 4.75? I don't really give a shit because it's all meaningless. But it's like, to Dave, he will condescend you if you say it's meaningless. And this is why he's getting slapped in the face every week with DMDMW. Anyways, moving along. I think there's one more on the injury. On the injury stuff, yeah. So they talk about all these shoulder injuries. I guess Sheamus has got one. Dom's got one. And I guess that's a lot. I don't know, man.
We got a rash of shoulder injuries to talk about. Sheamus has just gotten surgery for his shoulder, so he's going to be out a long time. Michin was pulled from the holiday tour because she suffered a shoulder injury.
Right.
And then they did an angle on the Dynamite show tonight where Luchasaurus was attacked by Ricochet's crew, and he also has a shoulder injury.
Dominic's out too.
Also a shoulder injury.
Wow, yeah, that is crazy. There's it's the great shoulder conspiracy. Wow.
With the shoulder injury.
At least Penta came back from a shoulder injury.
Penta came
That's
back.
one guy back, and Dom should be back soon. Seth was at diving headbutt, and he landed on his shoulder. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's also wrestlers, and so they work out really hard, and I'm sure they lift heavy weights, and you're going to screw up your shoulders lifting heavy weights.
I think that's what it was a lot of guys back then were probably lifting heavy combined with the toll of the ring. I think now, I don't know if,
back then, whoa, Dave, what? So back in the day, they were lifting heavy. And so was there an instance where you could point to 7 fucking shoulder injuries at one time? It was, that mixed with the ring. What the fuck you talking about? So like when Triple H blew his quad out, like Dave is just so stupid. He's trying to say, well, I think that would have been more of a factor back then, no? But instead he's talking like, well, back then I know for sure it was this thing. And it's like, well, did a lot of guys have shoulder injuries? Brian's pointing out it's weird that these guys all have shoulder injuries right now. I think this is what it's from. The flippy moves and the way people roll out of shit now, like doing it's just the way people are landing. They do all this, like they eat a DDT move and they're like posting on their head, or like in one match you're doing like Hurricane Rana, back body drop, duck somersault into an enziguri. You kind of land on your side or whatever, it's like all these moves are just kind of, and maybe guys are just bumping differently on their shoulder. Ric Flair would always kind of bump weird, like on his side, but it was cool. It was like Ric Flair's thing. It wasn't like a put off or anything. It just was his thing. And I don't know if more guys are doing that, but you notice like a lot of guys are all fucking, I don't know the list of names here, but a lot of people do suicide dives, which is like all shoulder contact. And then it's like, or I'm going to do a somersault through the bottom rope, or like a somersault into a code breaker or whatever the fuck, people are doing moves like that nowadays. Luchasaurus, maybe, I don't know. He does flips and shit. I don't know. But yeah, it's unfortunate and it is weird. It's just one of those weird anomalies that happened in the world of pro wrestling where everyone's shoulders are fucked up. That's cool. Brian pointed that out.
I think that's what it was.
I didn't even notice
a
that.
lot of guys back then were probably lifting heavy combined with the toll of the ring. I think now, I don't know if, I don't know what guys are doing, but the real heavy lifting doesn't really work well, I think, with pro wrestling. I know in the old days, everybody did it.
And he's just saying like he doesn't know what people do to work out nowadays.
We got a rash.
I don't think like working out, I guess the machines, have evolved a lot, but just the essentials like curls, all that shit, like just basic doing push-ups, sit-ups, fucking getting your cardio in. A lot of wrestlers too, they just lift weights and then they just do their cardio in the ring, like because they're wrestling. But nowadays, I guess maybe you couldn't do that because you're not wrestling as much, right? Who knows? But I think the way people eat and take care of their bodies has transformed more than actually like the physical aspect of working out. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but hasn't changed much in my time. So now we talk about Booker of the Year and promotion of the year. So I want to start with, we'll play these clips at the end because Brian just fucking copes and all Dave does is sweep for CMLL for some reason. But Glenn Gilbert, he says, I'm a Wrestling Observer Awards winner, 1995 Best Gimmick. I didn't receive anything, get a congratulatory call, asked to attend the awards ceremony. There is none, nothing. It was irrelevant. Exactly. But Dave got into it with Raj Giri and Sickos over like what he perceives is the best Fed or whatever. So this all started with Raj Giri posting what was promotion of the year, and his audience voted. And I don't know why he put CMLL either. Like, how did he even think of that? It's almost like him taking a shot at Dave in a way. I'm sure that's why he did it. But he posts WWE, 62% of his audience voted that, 4% voted CMLL. And then Dave goes, I'd be embarrassed if my audience gave CMLL 4%. It would tell me that I've done a horrible job this year covering the news. Dave, it's Twitter. Is Raj a journalist? Maybe he is technically, but why is that embarrassing? Why can't it just be what it is, man? It's people find it embarrassing that your shit is the way your shit is when you do these 30% Brian polls. It's just he's just such a condescending prick. And then he goes, or my clientele is completely ignorant of pro wrestling itself. Dave, that's what yours is. Both of these possibilities would be embarrassing. So he's just, I would be embarrassed. It should be embarrassing. He wants fucking Raj Giri to be embarrassed because he doesn't like Raj Giri because Raj Giri's critical of AEWs. So I responded to this and I said, Dave Meltzer is responding to a random bot account because, oh yeah, it's real one. Oh my God, dude. Sicko says it. Oh shit, it's real one, bro. Oh shit. And he's responding to real one instead of just Raj Giri straight up. That's fucking hilarious. So I wrote, Dave Meltzer is responding to random bot accounts while having 2/3 of the IWC blocked. His entire bubble is bottom of the barrel uber sickos, and he thinks that's less embarrassing than people answering the measurably objective truth. Answering with the measurably objective truth is what I meant to say, okay, Twitter? Dave is an embarrassment to pro wrestling and journalism. Holy man. And Dave went on to say this: if you are a reporter and your audience in 2025 doesn't know about CMLL, well, you've either done a bad job in 2025 in talking about the biggest stories, or your audience has a poor ability to learn. Dave, how many CMLL stories are on the cover of fucking Yahoo Sports or Google Trends, or when you turn on Twitter, what's in the trending, what's in the fucking, like, CMLL, none. So when you're like, major stories, to who? To you and your Mark fucking bubble and Mexico. The fuck you talking about?
Just in,
Christ,
we have
so
confirmed
nuts.
that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
And so he's responding to people. You sure didn't hear the context, did you? Except it was like a question from it's my co-host in a conversation many years ago, who asked if my son and daughter and their friends knew Bad Bunny. I asked him and his friends, they were in high school at that time, and they all said no, Bryan. So again, this person, Indigo Montoya, shout them out on Twitter at Indigo Gordon. They posted this and was like, yo, Phil, like, read, like, and then they said, reminder, while Meltzer's criticizing reporters for not doing a good enough job covering the biggest stories in wrestling, especially when outside of the USA, he once claimed Bad Bunny wasn't a big star. So we've covered that, but it's also the way he accumulates. So he can pull fucking his friend's son's friends or whatever the fuck he just said there, and that's valid. Because he asked 4 or 5 random kids who Bad Bunny is and they don't fucking know. But Raj polls a casual wrestling audience, let's say, and they all vote WWE, and that's embarrassing. Like, Dave, you are cooked and you are the one who should be embarrassed. Fucking crazy. Craziness. That's all I can say after everything. Fucking crazy. Damn, that shit's crazy. Yeah, so this is my response. Dave Meltzer's not. This is a response to something else. So Locks responds and says, what Dave is saying is that if a majority of his readers come to conclusion that WWE was the best promotion this year, then he has a journalist job, or he, as a journalist, didn't do his job to convert how good CMLL was this year. Also, Observer subscribers are usually people who consume a lot of wrestling weekly. And then Dave Meltzer goes, I didn't even say that. What I did say is if only 4% of my readers think the promotion that set the record they did in 25 for most paid in any single building in the history of wrestling, what? And put on so many great shows should win. Yeah. And so many great shows. Hold on. What did Dave say here? We need to ask AI or Grok or something. Someone in chat back me up on this. I'm going to ask Google here. So what is he claiming here? Promotion that set the record they did in 25 for most paid in any single building. Does CMLL hold the record for most paid in any building? Most paid attendance. Should I reword it? Because it's just such a redacted way he's phrasing it. Does CMLL hold the record for the most paid attendance in any building in 2025 for pro wrestling? I don't know if Google's gonna. No, CMLL does not hold the record for the most paid attendance in a single building for a single event in 25. That record is held by another promotion, though CMLL did set a significant milestone for cumulative attendance in one building over the course of the year. So boom. Again, look at the way. So what is Dave saying here? 4% of my readers think the promotion that set the record they did in 2025 for most paid in any single building in the history of pro wrestling. So Dave's just saying that, but he's leaving out the context of in that building that they ran all fucking year. Every show was in that same building that they own. Every fucking show was there. And so they set the record for, they sold the most tickets in that building all fucking year, which is an accolade. But the way he phrases it is like, no, dude, someone's going to fraud check you. If you're a journalist, you need to make that distinction. Because my bullshit meter just went off, dude. My bullshit meter was like, no. Fuck no. So they had 1 million paid attendees at all events in their primary venue, Arena Mexico, over the entire year. Is what Dave. So Dave should have said, well, CMLL had an incredible milestone. They reached over 1 million paid attendees this year. This year, CMLL, hey, I think it's dumb that if you vote the building or if you vote the promotion that filled their building with 1 million paid fans over this year in the same building, that's a huge milestone. I think it needs to be more than 4%. But it's like he comes in with this fucking like saying they did shit they didn't do, misspeaking because he's just in a fit of rage. He's all oiled up, about to watch this week's CMLL show in his fucking Mystico match and he's just fucking typing away. And he goes, 2025 most, single building in any single building in the history. Because when he just says in any single building, it makes it seem like an isolated incident in a way, but I don't know. Put on so many great events. Yeah, it would be embarrassing. They don't even have to win. But if that's the conclusion my readers came to, I'd be embarrassed for them. And so now he's just shitting on his readers. So now if you're one of his readers and shit, he would be embarrassed for you, but it's not his bad that he didn't convey correctly. Listen to how he spins this. So he literally makes the fucking statement that I'd be embarrassed if only 4% of my audience voted this. So that's all. That's like dog whistling. That's like signaling his audience, don't fucking vote a certain way or else I'd be embarrassed by you and I'm your daddy and this is a cult. But when it comes to Dave, he would go, I would be embarrassed for them and ultimately for myself in not covering one of the biggest news stories of the year well enough. So he's already building in, like, if you don't vote for this way, but he's like accusing Raj of this is embarrassing and it's fraud. Like, why? It's not like Raj tempted anyone. Him including CMLL is like a jab at you. Him including CMLL isn't even a jab at you, Dave. It actually should show you that him to where if Dave studied the business, he would understand Raj has somewhat of a more probably, I would assume, like casual audience who also just enjoy sports and shit. And he would know that him even including CMLL is giving it the nod that it kind of deserves in the Americas and shit. Whoa. Dave would understand that and give Raj credit, but instead it's just, I'd be embarrassed for you. I'd be embarrassed for my readers. I guess he does say, and then ultimately myself, but that's kind of cope. He doesn't want to say it. He's seething while he says it. Right. But yeah, and again, I just wrote Dave Meltzer's not a journalist. He's someone with an agenda trying to control a narrative that he doesn't even fully understand. And I wrote, I gave awards out too. They're meaningless, and the nominees were just my preferences drawn from my perspective. The PWT universe voted against many of my top choices. I didn't spurg out trying to convince the people they're wrong. He's a clown, right? And that's all it is, man. If you listen to what the people say, and you can sway them, sure, but I don't know. It's just the condescending and responding to AEW Real One or WWE Real One or whatever the fuck these clowns are called. And he's responding to those accounts, but he won't just like tweet Raj. Like Raj, you know what I mean? Dave always does this. He'll like respond to people through other people and then just block everyone who's like, no, you're a dumbass. It's fucking stupid, man. And so Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno, responded to this as well.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
And he said, let's pretend that those same metrics were extrapolated to corn tastes. I guess. God, YouTube's been chill though, man. I gotta be honest. What? They've been real chill with what we can say. But this is a good analogy here. Disco says Dave would be. So he said, if we were to extrapolate this to corn tastes, Dave would be on here wondering why Prego porn didn't get the credit it deserves, because that is what turns him on. It's fucking kind of true. But Dave would respond and say, did Prego corn set the record for most views in one home? Most times in one household? In one building, Brian? Oh, shit. So Meltzer said what responds to this shit? And he said, I told you months ago that Dynamite Dave Lucha Libre Meltzer had decided that he was going to anoint Mystico as Wrestler of the Year to his trained seals of voters. And now he here is once again swaying the totally impartial voting process. And here's Dave going, wrestlers ranked in the PWI top 100, right? You see Moxley, Hangman, Haruki Goto. And then Dave goes, it is what it is. He's all bummed out by the PWI because he wanted Mystico. It is what it is, I guess. We'll only say this. It is what it is, and I'll only say this. A huge paragraph. A huge paragraph of Cope, followed up by fucking Cope. By their standards, hard to argue Mystico wouldn't be number one, except he's not American. Very good in the ring, not the best. But as far as being over and winning matches, wrestles more than anyone, almost always main event, almost never loses, wins clean far more than anyone, held world titles in multiple companies, didn't lose either in the ring, won Opera Cup and other tournaments. I don't know if they consider drawing power, but that's a major plus for him as well. Dave, who cares? Fucking Mark. So I see the front runner for the Flair Thez Award in my mind has to be like Mystico or Moxley. And then Dave goes, I think so. I see Moxley, Rhodes, Mystico, and Page as the only potential winners. Ospreay may win outstanding, but injury will keep him from the Thez Flair. Storm and Kamatani and Sky could place well, as could Punk and Rollins, but I don't see any of them winning. So he's just like, Mystico's going to win. That's his agenda. His agenda has been, we've chronicled this here too. And shout out, Meltzer said, what the fucking goat? And we've talked about it like this entire 2025. I guess this year now it's 26, but throughout 25, it was like, yo, CMLL, he's just going to glaze it to absolute death. And he's going to not put over AAA the way he should be. And yeah. Meltzer said what calls it out. So a few weeks ago when we were still in June, Bryan started laughing that Dave wanted to have a discussion on Wrestler of the Year where Dave made the case for Mystico to win this year in June. You can bookmark this for when he comes in first or second in the awards. And Dave's already saying, yep, I think he'll be number one in June, bro. And it's like, well, the first half of the year I give it to him. So the second half, we'll see. So, yeah, here's Dave. We got this posted as well. Dave criticizing other reporters covering the biggest stories, and he chose to attend a random collision on the night John Cena turned heel at Elimination Chamber, which is fucking hilarious. We talked about that. Dave arguing with some Mark. This guy goes, I can watch AEW Weekly in the UK 2 days after USA broadcasts for free. I can watch AEW pay-per-views in the UK for free a week or two after broadcast. WWE is included in my Netflix. How can I cheaply and legally watch CMLL in whatever? And then Dave goes, but can you read? So Meltzer said, what says great? I'm not sure what's going on here. Great news, everyone. You don't have to actually watch CMLL yourself. You can just read Dave's reviews and then vote for it as best promotion without even watching. So, okay, I get what's going on. So Dave is literally trying to compel people here. But actually, man, he's sitting here saying that, can you read? Like, you could just read my magazine and never fucking watch CMLL a day in your life. And then you'll know it's the best promotion. You don't have to see it to know it's the best and think it's the best. It doesn't matter that you don't watch it because I am the Holy Bible and I wrote that it was good, Brian. This is why Dave deserves to fail. He's a condescending piece of shit with stuff like this. And he just doesn't get how his view on shit is out of touch and no one gives a fuck. And that's what's awesome. That's why the show fucking exists. And so moving along here, Dave gets a response from Raj. So Raj says, here are things I'd be more embarrassed about. One, there were probably more than 4% of your readers that believed your report that a wrestler's brain was removed and put back in. Facts. There were probably more than 4% of your readers that believed your report on an internal memo of WBD's value of AEW programming that was actually fan fiction. Yo, Raj Geary's running through the hits. Listens to PWT confirm. No, Raj is a good dude. But he goes, yeah, he's just running through, dude. AEW programming was actually fan fiction. You forgot from a Fightful Discord. But again, he's cool with Sap, so he's not going to take the jabs at Sap there. So 3, there were probably more than 4% of your readers who believed your report that Afa Anawai passed away while he was fighting for his life. 4, there were probably more than 4% of your readers who believed your report that Triple H and The Rock filmed a segment last year for a future match, even though that was from 2014. The list goes on and on. Bro, cooked him with like the key ones. Oh my God, you gotta love that. You gotta love that. But again, Dave won't respond to him. He'll only respond to Raj Geary and Niccolo Piccolo and Eric Bischoff and Phil Marks through other people. And yes, I put myself in that category because I swear we've caught him doing it. I'll say shit and then he'll go and say the exact opposite fucking thing. And it's like, bro, you are fucking, and I'm not talking like spoilers of things, or it's like I can just call him a mile away. So I know he's seen this show. We got copyright stricken. Unless proved otherwise, I choose to believe it was by the fucking mushmouth and his cronies. And I have a personal vendetta. It's personal now. No. So moving along here, the Sports Illustrated Awards went off. And I don't know, man. Sports Illustrated, I thought they didn't exist and lost all their credibility like Dave. So, of course, Dave is going to put over the fact that Tony's putting these awards over.
Tony brought up the Sports Illustrated Awards. I guess he was really thrilled because AEW got Promotion of the Year and, several. And I think I'm more interested in this year's awards than in years because it actually, when you look back, I mean, WWE didn't have a great year booking wise. I mean, but they did have a great year business wise. And they did have a lot of good matches.
And Roman's leukemia was a work. Yeah, shout out Chad for bringing that one up.
And everything. But from a match quality year, looking back, it's a pretty awesome year. And there's a lot of candidates, for a lot of the stuff. Obviously, Wrestler of the Year, there's
a lot of candidates for a lot of the stuff. Great analysis.
Cena, Mystico. I think Mystico should win. I mean,
of course, so you thought that all year. He was your pick all year.
But it's CMLL. You just don't know because, and I mean, everyone who's talked to me thinks it's like a given that CMLL wins Best Promoter.
Everyone who's talked to you. So the people who vote in your shit. So why would anyone care? Why would the fuck would anybody care? It's like people who don't get that I A-log Redax. Well, if you enjoy A-logging Redax like Dave Meltzer, then this is the show we're going to get along just fine. Just swell more than likely. You know what I'm saying?
And I think they...
It's just so stupid. It's like, oh, man.
Well, but I don't know that it's a given because, again, you're talking about, it's a streaming service. It's the most expensive of all the streaming services. There's not a lot of subscribers. And other than that, yeah, you can read about it, but, a lot of people don't vote for what they don't see. Some people will.
Yeah, you can read about it, but some people don't. But then that other guy, you're like, can you read? So you want people to read you and you're the end all be all.
Because there's, the records are, but I think like for Observer Awards,
so no fucking WWE records count.
Find out this year. Every year's different, but I think it could be a big year for CMLL.
Yeah, we know you think that, Dave. I don't know, man. He's kind of kooky. Let's hear. He just made it about CMLL. So you see that, like, even when it comes to AEW, he's got to make it about fucking the shit he's trying to put over. His agenda is CMLL. He's no longer an AEW shill. He's against Tone. He's a CMLL shill. No, I don't even believe that. I just think it has more to do with because his agenda was like, if AEW never came around, he would be trying to say like, well, in Lucha, New Japan, he'd still be saying that about Nuge and fucking CMLL and shit. And I just think he really likes Mystico. I don't know if Mystico, are there any stories of like, because there's stories of like fucking Ricochet nodding to Meltzer and shit, or like waving at him during his match, and then the crowd pops, and at PWG shows back in the day. So we know why he likes certain guys that he likes, like Ospreay and shit. You know, the Bucks, they kiss his ass. Oh, it's Dave Meltzer, you know, and he's laughing like a redact. But is there a story with Mystico there where, like, you know, fucking Mystico stooges to him, or they're like buddies or something like that? I'm real curious because he just loves Mystico. And I don't know, man, Mystico, he's good and shit, but has he really? I just think of anyone you can say that stood out in the world of pro wrestling. Like in Mexico, yes, you could isolate that. He was like the most over guy, but I just think it's hard to deny just some of these other big global Hollywood household name type guys. Anyways,
every single show they had a freaking video package of the Sports Illustrated Awards. Tony Khan at the press conference.
That R word. I'm being nice, dude.
Going on.
I'm being nice this show. What can I say?
These awards.
I'm happy. It's the new year.
It's over and over. I mean, they are so into these awards. I mean, they should. They should, you know, tell everyone, like, you know, Sports Illustrated sounds important, you know, and it's like,
well, if it sounds important, sure, just fucking, who cares what it really means or what people think?
We won awards, so, you know, it's like, it's the message that they've needed to send, and they really couldn't do it last year because last year they were splitting awards, you know. I mean, they still won awards last year, but they were splitting.
What awards? What are these awards? A fucking digital magazine that no one reads, that everyone thought was out of business and got in trouble for using AI? Who gives a fuck? God, man. Oh my God.
You know, I mean, this
WWE's talking about, hey, we're trying to get to like Emmys and shit. We need to win like fucking, we want to win Emmys and for the production on fucking whatever. Paul Heyman's talking about Roman should be winning Emmys for his whatever. Like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Here, they're going to win, at least in the Sports Illustrated.
Fucking AI Illustrated Awards.
They won a lot. I don't know about the Observer Awards. I mean, obviously they'll win some. You know, there's a few that I think are pretty much locks that they'll win. But, you know, I mean, I don't know that they're going to win. They're not going to win. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I mean, you can see it that they are so into this idea of the awards, but it's the perception turnaround is what they're into. You know, basically just going like over and over. We had a great year. We've had, you know, the biggest shows. We've had the best.
So propaganda. So it's propaganda that you're perpetrating. And again, I'm all for like, you got to present the business like it's your business and you want to put it over and present it like everything's going amazing and we're just blah, 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 blah. And I get it, but everyone's so tired of this, man. It's like CNN level of like, everyone's just tired of you just like making shit up and doom and glooming everyone about WWE and like what reality is. Like everyone's so tired. You just don't get that benefit of the doubt. I don't know. It's, should we do another classic Phil Marks Etch-a-Sketch where I Etch-a-Sketch my brain, try to again going into the new year? I don't know. With AEW, do we just reset our brains? How do we do that?
Wrestlers with the best matches, and that's the message they're trying to send. And I mean, you have to have a really good year to send that message, or else it's bullshit. But boy, are they working! It's amazing how hard they're working on this one. I mean, they have, you know, talked about those awards. I know those awards by heart because they keep saying them over and over and over.
I know those awards by heart because they keep saying them and they worked so hard and they're saying them over and over and over. Dave, so you're at the fucking production meetings or what are you talking about?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So, Dave, you fucking work there? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? I know these awards by heart because they've been pushing them, because you just sit there and read their Twitter all day.
Guys, Tony Khan.
And just scroll AEW Twitter. Like, what is it? How do you know them off by heart? Who's telling you the awards that they're working hard to get and are pushing over and over? Are you talking about social media, or like what Tony's been texting you that he wants the media to... it's so weird and incestuous.
Again, every single one of those awards and who won them, it's crazy. Not crazy. It's actually, I actually think it's smart, but boy are they into those awards.
What an old fucking man. But boy, are they into those awards that they got. They're really into them, and they don't mean much. The Observer means way more. And so Bryan Alvarez talks about how Tony books, and then so this is them sweeping, coping, and seething. They just can't believe or what they're seeing. They just can't accept what they're seeing. However the fucking lyrics go, I don't even know. But Bryan here is just sweeping for Tone. Like, this is how they explain, you know, he's just going to do his thing. And this still somehow Bryan's explanation here still qualifies Tone McCon as a fucking guy who could be considered for, like, you know, Observer Award Booker of the Year or whatever. And then what they say about Triple H, though, is like, oh, this one fucking thing he didn't do right. How could you be Booker of the Year? And it's clown shit. So let's listen to the sweeping.
I've said it 1,000 times. Like, Tony is booking for himself, and he loves wrestling. He never gets tired of wrestling. He doesn't give two shits about time limits or curfews. Apparently there was a curfew here and they went over.
Awesome.
He doesn't give a shit.
Dandy.
You know, he's just going to go as long as he feels he needs to go. And
how that immediately disqualifies you from Booker of the Year. Immediately. It qualifies you as like, yeah, we'd go work for the guy. He'd pay. Like, I could just, on Dark Side of the Ring, if this was a guy in the territories, he'd be dead right now because he'd have lived too crazy of a life, you know, and then they'd be reflecting, not like you guys, we're doing a bit here. They'd be talking reflectively on Tony Khan, like, oh yeah, we'd go fucking work for this guy. He'd give us the money, but he didn't give a fuck about time limit, and the boys went into business for themselves. And we'd all be like, damn, that's a crazy fucked up story. You know, it was right. If he just could have got it together, he could have whatever. But instead, because Tone is Dave's friend and they have a stranglehold on the sicko hive mind, you know, we have to like sit here and pretend that, and because Tone is friendly with the journalists and everybody wants to be the next Will Washington, or they want to be the next like Elbu who gets phone calls from MJF and shit, right? That we have to sit here and pretend like that isn't the case, and like this doesn't like disqualify Tony. You know, you think a good booker would have his times on point and not just spend money to spend it and fucking I don't know, whatever.
You know, whether the fans, you know, they may have a train to catch or what. Too bad. You know, I like wrestling. I'm just going to keep going forever. I never get tired.
The best booker books the show so you can make the goddamn trains on time. I'll tell you that much.
Of it. And if you're a sicko just like him, you love it. And if you're not, you're going to get fucking exhausted and tired, and you just got to deal with it.
That's the majority of people.
Change.
Yeah, so that's the majority of people. And that's why when people say AEW's cooked, that's what they mean. Like, okay, then it's done. Like, it's just going to keep hemorrhaging viewers. But in contrast, here's what Dave Meltzer has to say about Triple H's booking in WWE as of late.
How can you vote a guy Booker of the Year when in his biggest angle, he just did it to do it, had no idea what he was going to follow it up with. And
he had no idea. So he had no idea that Gunther was going to go on a heel run. And he just did it to do it, the biggest angle. You don't know that he just did it to do it, Dave. And also, the biggest angle was the biggest angle in all of pro wrestling. And it's not incumbent upon one thing. So, you mean like Tony Khan? How could Tony Khan be Booker of the Year? when he just did it to do it with Moxley and the Bumbaclock Clan and the Death Riders, just for Moxley to turn babyface just because in the middle of a tournament, just because I'm babyface now and I have this belt and I'm going to cut a babyface promo and say I'm fighting for the boys after I just attempted murdered all of the boys and legends and kidnapped people and plastic bag and all this shit, and I didn't do anything to redeem myself or qualify myself as give me a second chance, or there was no action that happened that made me have to do something that maybe was more in a babyface fucking like some sort of heroic action or something like that. There was none of these things. There was nothing like that. No beats to the story. It was just Moxley. All of a sudden, you're a babyface now, and you have the Continental title, and the top heel faction are going to give you a round of applause while you cut an Ultimate Warrior drunk guy fucking heavy breathing, zero cardio fucking promo into the mic, and now you're a babyface. So you mean like that, Dave? So how could that be Booker of the Year too?
The best guy is Tony Khan.
And then fucking Tony Khan blames the fans. Oh, well, you know, the fans didn't get the point of the Death Riders. No, everyone got it. You just executed poorly, and it fucking sucks ass. So how the fuck could that be Booker of the Year? When nothing hit, and we have to make believe that hit somehow, and now Moxley just ends the year as a good guy all of a sudden? Okay. Fucking middle schooler redact booking, dude. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Triple H knew exactly what he was going to do. Gunther's going to be a bad guy and retire Goldberg and Cena and AJ Styles and Randy Orton and a bunch of guys. Fuck you talking
Even
about?
though he knew eventually where he was going, he had no idea to get there and never came up with. And
so then isn't that the best booker then? So that some shit happened, the reaction wasn't what you thought, and then he adjusted in one fucking day and figured out a way to book it where the roster is on Cena and the fan side, and the company and the general managers are on the fan side, and that Gunther is the one everyone's pointing the finger at going, fuck you, shame on you. So wouldn't that make him a really good booker, the fact that he could adjust on the fly? Whereas Tone, all he did was just flip the belt to Joe and Hangman and then to MJF last second, then didn't explain why MJF wasn't in the fucking diamond ring, and then fucking have Moxley turn babyface out of nowhere with zero explanation. Don't you think that would be the better booker? Holy buddy, I just exposed you, Dave. You're a fucking fraud.
And with months, never came up with an idea that was any good. So sorry, I mean, it's like the last 2 years,
Even when Dave too, he's like, I don't understand why they put it on Joe, and then they just dropped it to MJF right away. But oh man, Triple H had no idea what he's doing. Listen to Dave here. I just exposed him. I cooked him right there. Using his own logic, okay, then Tone was worse. And Triple H is actually good, because wouldn't you give the credit to a guy who could fucking manage that then, if it was all, oh, we didn't expect this. And then they just quickly made the company and the roster the baby faces against Gunther, like almost the whole roster. You're almost like even the heels, man, who are holding it down for WWE. I'm fucking way. All those guys are like, fuck Gunther. Like, I know not all the heels did, but it just feels that way. Gunther's like a lone ranger right now. He doesn't even have Ludwig with him anymore. He's just doing his own thing, and everyone's like, for shame. How dare you, right? I think that's kind of genius. So again, Dave just shilling. This is the agenda. He just has zero logical way of thinking about any of this.
For Levesque this year, I mean, I know he's not going to win, but it's like there's.
I know he's not going to win. How do you know? I'd be embarrassed if my voters voted him. What if they do? How do you know? You'll just change it because it's your goofy ass magazine.
There's no way. Even supporters of Paul, I mean, yeah, they can cite the business, but guess what? When like CMLL didn't have a great business year. It's not like,
Oh my God, Dave. The CMLL thing is like the NXT thing, bro. They're selling lots of tickets to that same arena, but it's to that same arena, and it's a lot of repeat customers. And WWE has shit loads of repeat customers. They're just not all, they don't go there to the same spot all the time. And globally, and the expansion as far as globally the reach is why it's more impressive what WWE does than CMLL. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to shit on CMLL. I didn't want to. When Dave was coping over that shit, I didn't want to shit on CMLL because that is an impressive record. Okay. And I wanted to take time to highlight it, even though Dave misspoke about what it fucking meant. And he doesn't ever say what it is. Oh, that record they set. It's just this one like obscure record that's like, Dave, okay. But realistically, you could argue AEW going to other countries and drawing big. Well, maybe not. They drove so fucking little. It's more impressive what CMLL did. But I'm just saying, man, like they're in the same building. It's a lot of the same people. It's easy to also work the numbers. They own the building. So who are we really talking about? They own the building. So they could easily say people paid who didn't pay. It's all I'm saying, man. And I shout out CMLL. I'm glad that they set that fucking record or whatever. But as far as Dave's concerned, it's just like what WWE's doing globally, you're just completely dismissing and not even acknowledging, and it's super obvious and cringe.
I mean, it's like there's no, there's no way. How can you do that when a guy literally, and when the explanation is just like, well, we have no explanation, and it's like we just want to give you a moment at the moment, and it's like that's the most bullshit booking there is. How can you?
So the heel turn. So, okay, this is the problem. The heel turn was super over, right? Everyone can acknowledge that. There's been well over 300 people watching Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week live throughout the evening. We can all agree that the heel turn, was it the greatest creative endeavor ever? It was James Cameron's Avatar put on screen. No, and I don't even know. That shit might be trash too. I haven't seen the new one, but was it like, oh my God, it's Martin Scorsese? No, it wasn't the greatest shit ever booked, but a moment just for the moment is the biggest bullshit, bro. The Cena heel turn ruled. That's part of what made his retirement run so awesome, was the fact that we saw every part of Cena. We saw him win the WWE title. We saw him lose the WWE title. We saw him put people over. We saw him win matches. We saw him complete the Grand Slam championship. We saw him turn heel. We saw him turn back babyface. We saw him have great match. We saw him cheat to win like he used to and pay homage to old wrestlers and his old shit. Like we had a CM Punk rap battle against him, which we didn't see, like Rikishi rapped against him and Kurt Angle did that bit. And it's like a recurring bit against John Cena. Like we got to see that moment again. It was one of the greatest visuals in pro wrestling. If you want to talk about like the cinema of it all and the fucking the production of them calling it on the fly and all this stuff, Dave just dismisses all that shit because he's a fucking mark and he just wants to go, well, they fumbled. I mean, it was just a moment. That was a moment for a moment, but it worked. And the people showed up, and Dave even admitted it. The people showed up for Cena this whole time. It didn't kill Cena's anything. The heel run didn't kill Cena's anything. Dave even admitted it. And the heel run, the turn back to babyface was like, what the fuck? Okay, so that one, but it still worked. And then the ending of the babyface run was so magical because we got that little daddy magic taste of heel in there. So like, why it all worked. And then you all got worked because the fans there booed the ending to that match where the bad guy beat the superhero. And we're all fucking crying about it. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that was the point. That was the whole point. It's comic books. It's not fucking, it's not a weekly TV show. It's not like The Simpsons or maybe not even that. It's not like, I don't know. It's comic books. Right? It's like Superman gets killed, dude. You get heat on Darkseid. You know what I'm saying? Apocalypse. You got to get heat on those guys. He comes back. Cena's good. He'll be back in a suit and he'll be owning heels like, verbally and shit. It's just it had to be what it had to be, dude.
Vote a guy Booker of the Year when in his biggest angle. He just did it to do it. Had no idea what he was going to follow it up with.
Did I finish this clip? I think I'm going to finish
the moment. And it's like, that's the most bullshit booking there is.
Yeah, that's the most bullshit booking there is. I need that for the soundboard. Everybody be quiet.
At the moment. And it's like, that's the most bullshit booking there is. how can you
money? I'm going to use that on the soundboard. That's the most bullshit booking there is, Brian. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think people like coped and seethed over the fucking John Cena retirement tour. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're a goddamn liar. And that's why F4W and Observer are doing a Happy New Year sale, $9.99 for the whole year. This is the equivalent of a fucking 50% off sale. What is it, like $80 off sale, I guess? Or whatever it would work out to be. I don't know. Someone do the math. But it's like, okay, so that's like $80 off for the year or whatever the fuck. Go fuck yourself. Again, just a fire sale to start the year. Did a year-long fire sale. I asked you, the listeners at home, the good folks at home, what do you think was Dave Meltzer's biggest fumble? And you can let me know in the comments below or in the chat. But I did put a poll in the chat about what do you guys think Dave Meltzer's biggest fail in 2025 was. The votes are in and on youtube.com/pro wrestle clips. And guys, make sure you check out patreon.com/pro wrestle times and check me out wherever you listen to podcasts. But Dave Meltzer's biggest fail of 2025, I put sweeping for CMLL, 12% voted that. Admitting he's booking AEW, 29% voted that. 50% off Wrestling Observer all year, 13% voted for that. But 46% of you all voted the Tony Khan phone call. And because of these sales, because of this fraudulence, I will forever roast you, Dave Meltzer. And this was a long one, ladies and germs. Pause. That was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week, guys. Cooked him. It is 2026, and he's getting cooked all year. Dave's having an incredible arc. Last year, he couldn't have failed more. Let's see if he can get 2026. I say he doesn't. Until next time, I'll see you in the Upside Down. Peace.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they
Dave?
can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
Okay,
we
hold
know
on.
they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I
numbers for an
continue
afternoon
this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.